credit for that. They've said this is a disaster, what's happening. They were going all green. All green is all bankrupt. That's what it represents. And it's not politically correct. I'll be very badly criticized for saying it, but I'm here to tell the truth. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I'm in New York City. I'm feeling a lot safer. Crime, we're getting crime down. And by the way, speaking of crime, Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. was the crime capital of America. Now it's a totally, after 12 days, it's a totally safe city. Everyone's going out to dinner. They're going out to restaurants. Your wife can walk down the middle of the street with or without you. Nothing's going to happen. My people have done a fantastic job. And yes, I called in the National Guard, and the National Guard took care of business. And they weren't politically correct, but they took care of business. We got 1,700 career criminals out, brought them back to where they came from, the countries where they came from, or put them in jails. Washington, D.C. is now a totally safe city again, and I welcome you to come. In fact, we'll have dinner together at a local restaurant, and we'll be able to walk. We don't have to go by an armor-plated vehicle. We'll walk right over there from the White House. They've given up their powerful edge, a lot of the countries that we're talking about, in oil and gas, such as essentially closing the great North Sea oil. Oh, the North Sea, I know it so well. Aberdeen was the oil capital of Europe, and there's tremendous oil that hasn't been found in the North Sea, tremendous oil. And I was with the Prime Minister I respect and like a lot, and I said, you're sitting with the greatest asset. They essentially closed it by making it so highly taxed that no developer, no oil company can go there. They have tremendous oil left, and more importantly, they have tremendous oil that hasn't even been found yet. And what a tremendous asset for the United Kingdom. And I hope the Prime Minister is listening, because I told it to him 3 days in a row. That's all he heard. North Sea oil, North Sea, because I want to see them do well. I want to stop seeing them ruining that beautiful Scottish and English countryside with windmills and massive solar panels that go 7 miles by 7 miles, taking away farmland. But we're not letting this happen in America. In 1982, the executive director of the United Nations Environmental Program predicted that by the year 2000, climate change would cause a global catastrophe. He said that it will be irreversible, as any nuclear holocaust would be. This is what they said at the United Nations. What happened? Here we are. Another UN official stated in 1989 that within a decade, entire nations could be wiped off the map by global warming. Not happening. You know, it used to be global cooling. If you look back years ago in the 1920s and the 1930s, they said, global cooling will kill the world. We have to do something. Then they said global warming will kill the world, but then it started getting cooler, so now they could just call it climate change, because that way they can't miss. It's climate change, because if it goes higher or lower, whatever the hell happens, there's climate change. It's the greatest con job ever perpetrated on the world, in my opinion. Climate change, no matter what happens, you're involved in that. No more global warming, no more global cooling. All of these predictions made by the United Nations and many others, often for bad reasons, were wrong. They were made by stupid people that have cost their countries fortunes and given those same countries no chance for success. If you don't get away from this green scam, your country is going to fail. And I'm really good at predicting things, you know. They actually said during the campaign they had a hat, the best-selling hat. Trump was right about everything. And I don't say that in a braggadocious way, but it's true. I've been right about everything. And I'm telling you that if you don't get away from the green energy scam, your country is going to fail. And if you don't stop people that you've never seen before, that you have nothing in common with, your country is going to fail. I'm the President of the United States, but I worry about Europe. I love Europe. I love the people of Europe. And I hate to see it being devastated by energy and immigration. This double-tailed monster destroys everything in its wake, and they cannot let that happen any longer. You're doing it because you want to be nice. You want to be politically correct, and you're destroying your heritage. They must take control strongly and immediately of the unmitigated immigration disaster and the fake energy catastrophe before it's too late. The carbon footprint is a hoax made up by people with evil intentions, and they're heading down a path of total destruction. You know, the carbon footprint was a big, big thing a few years ago. I remember hearing about the carbon footprint, and then President Obama would get into Air Force One, a massive Boeing 747, and not a new one, an old one with old engines that spew everything into the atmosphere. He'd talk about the carbon footprint, we must do so. Then he'd get in and he'd fly from Washington to Hawaii to play a round of golf. And then he'd get back onto that big, beautiful plane and he'd fly back and he'd talk about, again, global warming and the carbon footprint. It's a con job. At extreme cost and expense, Europe reduced its own carbon footprint by 37%. Think of that. Congratulations, Europe. Great job. You cost yourself a lot of jobs, a lot of factories closed, but you reduced the carbon footprint by 37%. However, for all of that sacrifice and much more, it's been totally wiped out and then some by a global increase of 54%. Much of it coming from China and other countries that are thriving around China, which now produces more CO2 than all the other developed nations in the world. So all of these countries are working so hard on the carbon footprint, which is nonsense, by the way. It's nonsense. You know, it's interesting. In the United States, we have still radicalized environmentalists, and they want the factories to stop. Everything should stop. No more cows. We don't want cows anymore. I guess they want to kill all the cows. They want to do things that are just unbelievable, and you have it too. But you know, we have a border, strong, and we have a shape, and that shape doesn't just go straight up. That shape is amorphous when it comes to the atmosphere. And if we had the most clean air, and I think we do, we have very clean air. We have the cleanest air we've had in many, many years. But the problem is that other countries, like China, which has air that's a little bit rough, it blows. And no matter what you're doing down here, the air up here tends to get very dirty because it comes in from other countries where their air isn't so clean. And the environmentalists refuse to acknowledge that. Same thing with garbage. In Asia, they dump much of their garbage right into the ocean. And over about a 1 week and 2 week journey, it flows right past Los Angeles. You've seen it. Massive amounts of garbage, almost too much to do anything about, flowing past Los Angeles, past San Francisco, and then somebody will get in trouble because he dropped a cigarette on the beach. The whole thing is crazy. The primary effect of these brutal green energy policies has not been to help the environment, but to redistribute manufacturing and industrial activity from developed countries that follow the insane rules that are put down to polluting countries that break the rules and are making a fortune. They're making a fortune. European electricity bills are now 4 to 5 times more expensive than those in China, and 2 to 3 times higher than the United States. And our bills are coming way down. You probably see that our gasoline prices are way down. You know, we have an expression, drill, baby, drill, and that's what we're doing. We're going to be much lower in a year from now. But they've come way down over the last year. As a result, every air conditioner is like very uncommon to see one in some of these countries because the electric costs are so high. So while the U.S. has approximately 1,300 heat-related deaths annually, that's a lot, Europe loses more than 175,000 people to heat deaths each year because the costs are so expensive you can't turn on an air conditioner. What is that all about? That's not Europe. That's not the Europe that I love and know. All in the name of pretending to stop the global warming hoax. The entire globalist concept of asking successful industrialized nations to inflict pain on themselves and radically disrupt their entire societies must be rejected completely and totally, and it must be immediate. That's why in America I withdrew from the fake Paris Climate Accord, where, by the way, America was paying so much more than every country. Others weren't paying. China didn't have to pay until 2030. Russia was given an old standard that was easy to meet, the 1990 standard. But for the United States, we're supposed to pay like $1 trillion. And I said, this is another scam. The fact is, the United States has been taken advantage of by the world for many, many years, but not any longer, as you probably noticed. I unleashed massive energy production and signed historic executive orders to hunt for oil, but we don't have to do much hunting because we have the most oil of any nation anywhere, oil and gas in the world. And if you add coal, we have the most of any nation in the world. Clean, I call it clean, beautiful coal. You can do things today with coal that you couldn't have done 10 years ago, 15 years. So I have a little standing order in the White House. Never use the word coal, only use the words clean, beautiful coal. Sounds much better, doesn't it? But we stand ready to provide any country with abundant, affordable energy supplies if you need them, when most of you do. We're proudly exporting energy all over the world. We're now the largest exporter. In the United States, we want trade and robust commerce with all nations, everybody. We want to help nations. We're going to help nations. But it must also be fair and reciprocal. The challenge with trade is much the same with climate. The countries that followed the rules, all their factories have been plundered. It's really sad to watch. They've been broken. They've been broken by countries that broke the rules. That's why the United States is now applying tariffs to other countries, and much as these tariffs were for many years applied to us, uncontrollably applied to us. We've used tariffs as a defense mechanism under the Trump administration, including my first term, where hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs were taken in. And by the way, we had the lowest inflation, and now we have very low inflation. The only thing different is that we have hundreds of billions of dollars flowing into our country. But this is how we will ensure that the system works for everyone and is sustainable into the future. We're also using tariffs to defend our sovereignty and security throughout the world, including against nations that have taken advantage of former U.S. administrations for decades, including the most corrupt, incompetent administration in history, the sleepy Joe Biden administration. Brazil now faces major tariffs in response to its unprecedented efforts to interfere in the rights and freedoms of our American citizens and others, with censorship, repression, weaponization, judicial corruption, and targeting of political critics in the United States. I have a little problem saying this because I must tell you, I was walking in and the leader of Brazil was walking out. We saw him, and I saw him, he saw me, and we embraced. And then I'm saying, can you believe I'm going to be saying this in just 2 minutes? But we actually agreed that we would meet next week. We didn't have much time to talk, like about 20 seconds. They were in retrospect, I'm glad I waited because this thing didn't work out too well. But we did talk. We had a good talk, and we agreed to meet next week, if that's of interest. But he seemed like a very nice man, actually. He liked me, I liked him. But if you, and I only do business with people I like. When I don't like them, I don't like them. But we had, at least for about 39 seconds, we had excellent chemistry. It's a good sign. But also in the past, Brazil, can you believe this, unfairly tariffed our nation, but now because of our tariffs, we are hitting them back, and we're hitting them back very hard. As president, I will always defend our national sovereignty and the rights of American citizens. So I'm very sorry to say this, that Brazil is doing poorly and will continue to do poorly. They can only do well when they're working with us. Without us, they will fail, just as others have failed. It's true. Next year, the United States will celebrate the 250th anniversary of our glorious independence, a testament to enduring power and American freedom and spirit. We will also be proudly hosting the 2026 FIFA World Cup, and shortly thereafter, the 2028 Olympics, which is going to be very exciting. I hope you all come. I hope that countless people from all over the globe will take part of these will be great celebrations of liberty and human achievement, and that together we all can rejoice in the miracles of history that began in July 4th, 1776, when we founded the light to all nations. And it's something really that an amazing thing came out of that date. It's called the United States of America. In honor of this momentous anniversary, I hope that all countries who find inspiration in our example will join us in renewing our commitment, values, and those values, really, that we hold so dear. Together, let us defend free speech and free expression. Let us protect religious liberty, including for the most persecuted religion on the planet today. It's called Christianity. And let us safeguard our sovereignty and cherish qualities that have made each of our nations so special, incredible, and extraordinary. In closing, I just want to repeat that immigration and the high cost of so-called green renewable energy is destroying a large part of the free world and a large part of our planet. Countries that cherish freedom are fading fast because of their policies on these two subjects. You need strong borders and traditional energy sources if you are going to be great again. Whether you have come from north or south, east or west, near or far, every leader in this beautiful hall today represents a rich culture, a noble history, and a proud heritage that makes each nation majestic and unique, unlike anything else in human history or any other place on the face of the earth. From London to Lima, from Rome to Athens, from Paris to Seoul, from Cairo to Tokyo and Amsterdam to right here in New York City, we stand on the shoulders of the leaders and legends, generals and giants, heroes and titans who won and built our beloved nations, all of our nations, with their own courage, strength, spirit, and skill. Our ancestors climbed mountains, conquered oceans, crossed deserts, and trekked over wide open plains. They charged into thunderous battles, plunged into grave dangers, and they were soldiers and farmers and workers and warriors and explorers and patriots. They built towns into cities, tribes into kingdoms, ideas into industries, and small islands into mighty empires. You're a part of all of that. They were champions for their people who never gave up and who never, ever gave in. Their values defined our national identities. Their visions forged our magnificent destiny. Everybody in this room is a part of it in your own way. Each of us inherits the deeds and the myths, the triumphs, the legacies of our own heroes and founders who so bravely showed us the way. Our ancestors gave everything for homelands that they defended with pride, with sweat, with blood, with life, and with death. Now the righteous task of protecting the nations that they built belongs to each and every one of us. So together let us uphold our sacred duty to our people and to our citizens. Let us protect their borders, ensure their safety, preserve their cultures, treasure, and traditions, and fight, fight, fight for their precious dreams and their cherished freedoms. And in friendship and really a beautiful vision, let us all work together to build a bright, beautiful planet, a planet that we all share, a planet of peace and a world that is richer, better, and more beautiful than ever before. That can happen. It will happen. It will happen, and I hope it can happen and start right now, right at this moment. We'll turn it around. We're going to make our countries better, safer, more beautiful. We're going to take care of our people. Thank you very much. It's been an honor. God bless the nations of the world. Thank you very much. Bye.
On behalf of the Assembly, I wish to thank the President of the United States.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Welcome to another exciting and insightful episode of Gender Perspectives on Signature TV. And as always, we look at all gender-related issues in our society as it affects men and women. And as always, we have an interesting topic for you today. But first, we will go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll talk about that. Don't forget, I am Uchenna Chimdi Oluoha. Stay with us.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Welcome back. You are watching Gender Perspectives on Signature TV. Well, our topic today is going to be bordering on traditional gender roles and stereotypes. And of course, we know that gender roles are social norms that are deemed appropriate or desirable for individuals based on their gender or sex. And gender roles are usually centered on conceptions of masculinity and femininity, and the specifics regarding these gender expectations may vary among cultures, while other characteristics may be common throughout a range of cultures. And in addition, gender roles and perceived gender roles vary based on a person's race or ethnicity. So let's get more information about this from the background reports.
Traditional gender roles and stereotypes are deeply ingrained societal expectations that define how men and women should behave based on historical and cultural norms. These roles have been shaped by centuries of social, economic, religious, and political influences, often dictating career choices, family roles, and personal behavior. While some traditional gender roles are evolving, stereotypes still persist, affecting individuals and societies in profound ways. Traditional gender roles emerged from early human societies where survival depended on distinct labor divisions, where men typically hunted and protected the group and women gathered food, cared for children, and managed domestic responsibilities. Different religious and cultural traditions such as Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, and others have shaped gender expectations. Many of these traditions continue to influence gender norms today, though interpretations have evolved over time. Men have historically been expected to be providers, protectors, decision-makers, and emotionally resilient. Women, on the other hand, have traditionally been seen as caretakers, nurturers, submissive partners, modest and reserved. These stereotypes have influenced education, employment, and social expectations for generations. These gender roles have highly impacted individuals in various ways. Men may struggle with emotional suppression, leading to higher rates of depression and suicide. Women may experience anxiety due to societal pressure to meet unrealistic beauty or caregiving standards. Women often face barriers in male-dominated industries, while men in caregiving roles face stigma. People who do not conform to traditional gender roles may experience social rejection or discrimination. Rigid gender roles contribute to gender-based violence, harassment, and unequal treatment in legal systems. In recent decades, social movements, legal reforms, and globalization have challenged traditional roles. Women have gained more access to education and employment. Men are increasingly involved in parenting and household duties. Traditional gender roles and stereotypes have deep historical roots and continue to shape societies worldwide. While some norms are evolving, stereotypes still create barriers for individuals and reinforce inequality. Addressing these issues requires education, policy changes, and cultural shifts to create more equitable opportunities for all genders.
Traditional gender roles and stereotypes refer to the expectations society places on individuals based on their perceived gender. And these roles are often deeply ingrained in culture, history, and social structures. Well, men are typically expected to be providers, protectors, and decision makers. They are often associated with strength, assertiveness, and leadership, while women are traditionally seen as caregivers, nurturers, and homemakers. They are expected to be gentle, emotional, and supportive. Well, to throw more light on this discussion, we have an interview with Lady Jane Ndukwe. She is a mentor, an educator, and an advocate of respect and true humanity and kindness worldwide ambassador. So we're going to take a listen to this interview and hear what she has to say about traditional gender roles and stereotypes. Enjoy. Welcome, Lady Jane. Thank you so much for joining us on our program today.
Thank you.
You look so lovely. Thank you. It's always a pleasure seeing you, really.
Thank you.
So, well, today we are looking at traditional gender roles and stereotypes in our society. And I know you have a lot to say about that, so let's just get right into the gist of the day. So first of all, what do you understand by traditional gender roles? Like, what does it mean to you? Gender roles and stereotypes.
Okay, so gender roles, to me, traditional gender roles means that there are roles that are specific to a gender,
Okay.
Traditionally. So traditionally, we're looking at culture, religion, what society says the man ought to do and what the woman ought to be doing. And then stereotypes are the ones that, when you have a bias, against maybe a gender or how something is done or perceived. So then you have this stereotype that, for instance, that says girls are maybe inferior, to men. That's a stereotype. That's a belief that isn't right.
Yes.
So,
And can you walk us through the various types of gender roles and stereotypes that society has for men and women, and how this has shaped expectations, what society expects from both genders?
Well, society expects that the woman belongs to the home front, and so she is groomed from birth, to cook, clean, man the home.
Take care of the children,
and
dishes
everything, So then you would find that in the traditional setting, the male child is just not allowed, well, no, I won't use the word allowed, but is not supposed to be in the kitchen. It's not supposed to cook and clean. It's the woman's, it's for the woman, it's for the girl child. So that's a gender role and stereotype, a traditional one. So, and then another one is that the woman does not inherit, property.
Yes.
And then going back on the first one that I mentioned, the girl child is already groomed for marriage.
Yes.
So if she doesn't get married early enough,
At a certain
at
age.
a certain age, it's as if what has gone wrong with her, So people begin to talk and, pass some very unwholesome comments, to the family. And another one is education. Back in the days, it was like, you don't really need to educate the girl child. Why do you bother? She's going to be somebody's wife.
And we still have these days.
So those are the things, when you talk about, that's how tradition perceives each gender, the girl and the boy, in
You've spoken,
society.
You've spoken, much on the female, their roles and stereotypes. So what about the boy?
So the society expects that the boy child grows up into a man that provides. He takes up headship of the home. So he's already being groomed, in that way, to head, to lead, and he is the ultimate provider and the protector. And it's like his word is law.
Yes.
Final. It's final. So and then if he's unable to do that, it becomes a problem.
Yes. His masculinity
is questioned.
Yes.
So these are the traditional roles, that we attribute to gender.
Yes. There is one that's quite striking, particularly when it comes to boys. When they say they shouldn't show emotion.
I forgot that one.
So,
yes. So they shouldn't show. A boy doesn't cry.
Yes.
So that has actually led to too many mental health issues among our boy children. Because they face a lot of trauma, stress, but in quotes, boys don't cry. So they bottle it up, and then you now begin to hear. In fact, there's a higher from research, a higher suicide rate in boys than girls. I read it somewhere. I can't quite remember where I saw that. So and it could stem from this stereotype. This belief that says boys shouldn't cry. But we now know better that really isn't so. That doesn't work.
Yeah, that's actually true. And the opposite of that is that women are also over emotional.
Yes. So when a woman freaks out, she's being emotional. So if she complains, don't mind her. That's one thing. She's being emotional.
And even when some men show emotions, why are you acting like a woman? That's the society we find ourselves in, unfortunately. Do you have any personal or observed experience where these roles and stereotypes have influenced, life choices or people in one way or another?
Yeah. For instance, in the choice of courses, that our children study, at the university. Then it used to be that only men could do engineering courses. And, there were certain courses that were predominantly male.
Yes.
I think it was yesterday on television that I heard a woman, she was saying she studied engineering and then she found herself in a male-dominated field, and I think either she was the only woman or something like that. So yes, it does affect our choices, and then it also affects our perception, you know, on marriage, for instance, you know, what is acceptable, you know. So, for the fact that we feel that the man's word is law, you know, so the wife, you know, is not expected to speak. She just toes the husband's whatever thing that he has set up, you know, that must be done, must be observed in the house. I mean, just before I came in, you know, I was listening to the radio when somebody was mentioning or referring back to our past president when he referred to his wife as belonging to the other room,
yes.
you know, when she was trying to advise, you know, or make a suggestion or something to him, you know. So you find a lot of cases like that, you know, where the woman is not really expected to speak. So whatever the husband says and does, whether they're right or wrong, you know, everybody just chooses that line.
And do you think that the idea the younger generation have concerning gender roles and stereotypes, do you think it is what it is supposed to be? Do you have any? What is your thoughts or your thought process as to the idea of gender roles and stereotypes and how the younger generation perceive it to be these days?
Well, as one who mentors young people, I have heard, you know, like some young ladies, some young girls speak about, in fact, they don't even see gender roles, you know, because it's as though what the man can do, the woman can do, you know. So if he wants to be a leader, I want to be a leader. If he's chasing his career, I want to chase my career, you know. So they see that. So some don't also see, you know, in quotes, the man is head in the home. You know, I've heard some younger girls speak about, well, what's in a marriage? You know, they don't even want to get married. You know, they don't want all this. I'm not cut out for this. And I've also heard on what the younger generation, you know, see. So, for instance, I've heard some say something like, you know, we're working. Don't expect me to cook. You know, there was a young lady, she was sharing with me. A guy invited her out and was waiting for her to come and cook. And then she said, no, what happened to ordering something? You know, that's not what I'm coming to do. So there's a shift, there's a change in the way the younger generation, you know, perceive this issue of gender role.
So you personally, what do you think about this shift? Do you think the younger people are misunderstanding it, or are misrepresenting it, or being too extreme with their thought process and the way they are seeing this idea of?
I want to look at it in this dimension. If what we project as gender roles, you know, and how it should be practiced was maybe better understood, if we understood the essence of gender roles, because I believe in gender roles. Okay. You know, let's start from that. I believe in gender roles, and I believe in the beauty of balance and complementarity. Okay? So now, if we had those thoughts of complementarity and balance, as well as mutual respect, three things, then perhaps the younger generation would not have this misunderstanding that seems to persist on gender roles. So, I'll give you an example. Now, when a woman is seen as inferior to the man, the younger generation is saying, well, I'm not inferior to any man because we've gone to school. Perhaps she was even the brightest one in the class.
Yes.
So she's now asking herself, why are you telling me that I'm inferior to the man? So she can't see what you're saying.
Yeah.
You know, when I was a young girl, there were certain things that my grandmother and other older women, you know, said about what is acceptable in a marriage. I mean, you will be so surprised to hear, you know, they told me that it's acceptable, you know, for the man to just whip the woman to shape, you know, to control her.
Really?
Yes. You know?
Wow.
So, and they accepted that as the social norm. You know? So they didn't see anything that was wrong with it. But you cannot say that to the modern generation. You know,
Exactly.
that just slap her and whip her up to shape. You know? And even I, as old as I am, I frowned on it when that was being told to me. Not to talk about, you know, like my daughter's age mates and, you know, telling me they can't see such things.
Exactly.
You know? So, now, if you permit me to just speak on why I say I believe in the beauty of balance, complementarity, and mutual respect as regards to gender roles.
Of course.
Now, I like to go back to inception, the way our Creator ordained things. I wasn't there, but I read a lot, you know, and I observe, you know, from what is happening in my community. I experience, and I can come up with something that says, now the man, you know, was formed. He is the closer one to the woman. The woman was made to be more delicate, okay, and with what I call the intuition, finer intuition. The man also has it, but it's a rougher intuition. So now, with the way the man was factored or formed, you know, just like any machine, and you configure it for a function. So he was configured, you know, if I may use that word, for leadership, for roles that are hard, that are strong, you know, for protection. You know, if there's anything, that's the man's role. Now, in each human being, there's a bit of a feminine and masculine part. Now, the man developed the masculine, you know, side of him and pushed away all the, you know, which was now put into the woman that was developed after the man was developed. If we go back to story of evolution and all that, okay. So now the woman was configured for nurturing, for caring, okay. Now she has all these features: intuition, collaboration, creativity. You know, and these are very beautiful features.
Yeah.
Okay? When we talk about 21st century skills, I mean, these things that I mentioned are the things that we're calling for in today's world. So you can imagine the woman bringing all that into leadership. You know, then there'll be forward looking. There's a broader perspective. Okay? Now, the man on his own has all the aggressive, not in a wrong way, you know, he's built for that which is strong and hard. He can rough it out, he can, you know, he has the stamina. Now, picture where two of them understand their roles. And again, I want to also throw this out, that no gender is superior to the other, and no role is better than the other. So now this is where, yes, I have to say that. So now you can imagine where the man understands his role, the woman understands her role, and then they come together. You know, they come together to balance each other. You know, because there are things that the man is unable to do is unable to perceive as a woman would. So when he lacks in those areas, because that's not the way he was configured. So if he understands his role and understands the woman's role, so where he is lacking, the woman supplements or complements. Now, where she is lacking, the man complements. So there is a balance. They balance each other. There's unity, there's mutual respect, and there's a harmony. That's really how it's meant to be. But when you step out of the roles and then you, oh, this, I don't want to do this anymore. You can imagine a car, that has been designed to drive on a smooth road, and then you now decide, no, I'm not going to drive it on any smooth road. I'm just going to go through gullies, I'm going to go through water, I'm going to go by air with this car that was not configured for that. Then there'll be trouble, which is what we're facing today. The trouble we're facing today. So now you have men and women stepping out of their roles.
So are you saying that a man cannot nurture, cannot care, and do all of that? And are you saying that a woman cannot step into that leadership role and take on some of those features that
okay have? Now, a man cannot nurture. He can do the bit he can, but he wasn't wired for that. That's why you see in a home front, the woman is the one who is teaching values to her children. She's the one who is making sure that the home front is sound in health, sound in thinking, and then there's stability and there's peace. That is the woman's role, because she has this intuition which guides. It's like a moral compass, the inner voice that guides her in the choices that she's making, and whether we acknowledge it or not, when a home, I'll paint two pictures of a home front now. Now let us paint picture home number one. Now there's a man and then the wife and children. So the man understands, okay, yes, I am head of the home. He's not lording it over the wife. He's not saying I'm more superior, but I'm the head of the home as the way it's been ordained. But she is the neck that carries the head. So if she doesn't move the neck, the head doesn't move. That's really the way it's meant to be. Because of that intuition, that guidance that she offers, that ability to see beyond what is just merely physical or whatever, I don't know how else to paint it. But because she is being guided from her inside, so she has foresight, and she's able to direct, if I may use that word, direct, she inspires, she's able to say, okay, I this is what I perceive, this is how I'm seeing something, The man who appreciates what she's bringing will not say, oh, I'm shut up, don't tell me anything. He would think about it, and then once he sees, I never imagined this, and then he acts on it because he is the one that executes what she is directing. And then things work out. The children are well grounded, So now in that kind of home setting, children coming out of that type of home become useful to society. Now let's paint another picture of another home. Two leaders, two heads. One refuses to bow to the other one. I'm just as good as you. You cannot come and tell me to do this. I'm heading a powerful unit in my office where men and women bow to me. So both of them now come back with their very powerful jobs. They have everything in their house, big house, gadgets, money, the whole lot. But one thing they do not have, sound children. Because those children, by the time they come back from their very powerful work, the children have gone to sleep, or, children are just left to more or less raise themselves.
Yes.
And then there's a problem, because if there's no support, if there's no guidance, just like a computer, if you don't garbage in, garbage out. So if you don't put in any values, if you don't put it, because everybody is, I will not agree. There's this thing, I can't remember what it was. Check. I can't remember. There was a word that was being used last year about I won't grieve for you or something like that.
Okay, like is it no grief for anybody?
No grief for anybody, but there was another thing. Pochili or something
okay,
like that.
Pochili, yes.
So everybody is doing pochili,
Yes.
and then the whole home front is ruined. I like I keep mentioning, I work with young people, as a mentor. And I have heard, them come to me, can I confide in you, man? And then they've said some things. I also studied counseling. So they've said some things that, in counseling, you're not supposed to show surprise, so that they're able to speak on.
Yeah.
But when I now ask, have you shared this with your parents? They're not there. They don't listen. They're too busy. And we've had cases where children have gone into drugs, gone into all sorts, because they're listening to their peers, they're using the drugs, they're using all those things to mask the pain or whatever it is that they're passing through. And when you check, much of it is coming from their home. So I have painted two different homes,
Yes.
and you look at it, and then that's why I keep calling for balance. I'm not saying that the woman should not work. By all means, work. But your primary assignment is your home. That's your constitution. That's where it starts. If you're able to raise well-mannered and well-grounded children, you will reap the benefits.
Just to understand you better,
Mm-hmm.
you're basically saying that it is primarily the woman's job to do the raising of the children
Okay.
in the home.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Basically, yes. The man also helps. Can you see where the balance now comes?
helps.
Yes, it helps in the home. I'm not saying he goes to go and wash plates. If he wants to wash plates, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
If your wife, maybe you've seen there's some cases where husband and wife, it's just that they don't have helpers. So the man also, maybe she's cooking and he's helping to wash the dishes,
Yeah.
or get
Watch
the
the
children
children,
ready,
yes.
or help with homework and all that. That's the balance we're looking for.
You spoke about mutual respect when it comes to acknowledging the importance and the beauty of this gender role.
Yes.
I would like to know, what do you think is the role or the influence of religion and culture when it comes to this particular thing? Because it is something, people always refer to it in our culture, women, the religion, women, or men, and it can lead to this idea of superiority, like you said, of feeling like one person is better than the other. So I would like to.
Okay, I'm going to say something. I hope they don't have my neck, but I'm going to say something. You mentioned culture, religion. Now, this culture that we talk about, set up by human beings, and I'm sorry to say, some of the things that we refer to as culture were set up to put control, over certain things, and especially the women folk.
Yeah.
Okay? So now, culture is good, but it evolves. It should evolve. There are certain areas of the culture that were set at times when people maybe didn't have quite as much knowledge as we have, and exposure as we have now. And you cannot continue to carry that into today's world when today the children don't even understand what you're talking about, and then imposing it on them. You know, some areas of our culture, yes, culture should evolve. Yeah. Really. That's how it's meant to be. Culture should evolve. You know, but certain things don't seem to be evolving in our own culture because it helps to put a check, put control. And who are the people who actually set up the culture? I don't think it was the women.
Of course not. Yeah.
You know?
Well, back then it was more of a patriarchal society, so it was more of, like I said, the superiority factor.
You know?
Yes.
So and that was set because of lack of understanding. You know, because if we had a better understanding, especially in the religious setting now, you know, because you would hear when there's a problem, you know, and a woman raises an issue that she's passing through in her home, the first thing she's told, go and be submissive.
Yes, that word has been used, and even in religious circles, it has become a mantra.
Do you know, it will shock you that if I say this, because I do not belong to the traditional religious setting, you know, submission is not of human beings. Submission is actually of the animals, not human beings. That's why even in slavery, it was difficult to get the people to really, truly submit. It was beaten out of them. Because a human being has free will. Yeah. And that's the way God ordained it. So because of that free will, it's difficult to now beat in submission into a normal human being.
Whether male
or female.
Yes.
You know? So when we continue to misunderstand creation, you know, and the roles of man and woman as it's meant to be, then we have problems. So we use our intellect to figure out, okay, you know, this is how it should be here, this is how it should be there, you know. But if we listen to the voice of conscience, then you will now begin to see that, this thing I'm doing is not really right. Because you forget, if you can do that to another woman, another person's child that you call your wife, remember you have a sister, you have a daughter, you know, you have nieces. I mean, I want to bring it closer to your daughter. You know, if a man treats your daughter the way you treat your wife, would you as a man take it? That should be a point of reflection.
Yes.
Except if you're saying you don't love your daughter. You know?
Yeah.
But if it's a man who loves his daughter and he knows that he mistreats or he totally disregards and disrespects his wife, you know, then he would ask himself, I wouldn't want to see that being done to my daughter. This whole thing of respect, I'm very keen on respect. I teach it.
Yeah.
I give it. I live it.
Yes. And before we go, how do you think these roles contribute to gender violence and discrimination in society?
Let me, before I answer that question, the roles themselves, the genuine roles of the man and the woman, are not where the problem. That's not where the problem is.
Yes.
It's the problem is not the role assigned to the man and to the woman. Whether we acknowledge it or not, that's how it is. You know, just like when you have a glass of water, you as far as you're concerned, it's clean, it's pure, because that's all you're seeing. But somebody who brings a good begins to see some living organisms and all sorts in that same water that you call pure. So whether we like it or not, those rules are there to guide the way we relate with one another, to bring about unity, to bring about togetherness, that's harmony, and growth. Because one person, like I said, there's no man without woman, there's no woman without man. It has nothing to do with marriage, because every man has a womanly influence. It could be a mother, grandmother, sister, friend, whatever, So, back to your question, how misunderstanding these roles have led to gender violence and discrimination. Because we have not understood those roles and they're rarely spoken about and the benefits, and we have not, because if you don't understand something, you can't practice it.
Yeah.
So because we've not understood, we've not been able to practice it, because if we practice it aright, then the younger generation looking at us will be happy to also toe the same line. But because we've not practiced it the way it should be, then instead what we have done is the way we raise children, the parents already make the boy to know you're the superior one. No, you don't go to the kitchen. Send your sister to go and bring whatever. He comes back, where's my food? Where's my this? And she just goes along doing that. And the parents accept that because that's the way they were also raised, So because of that misconception, and what we have now done is propagated competition instead of collaboration.
Yes.
So now we have where the other one feels I'm more superior. I'm speaking, you don't speak. So any little thing triggers off, and then there's gender violence. But if we truly, I keep going back to this same point, if we truly understand gender roles the way it ought to be and ought to be practiced, and ought to bring about balance and bring about collaboration, then there will be mutual respect. And where there's mutual respect, there's no abuse.
Yeah, so we're running out of time, but I want to just note that because of all of this starts from the home, and it spills over into the workplace, the schools, just society in general. Because when this mentality of superiority comes in, even in the workplace, you find the man looking down on his female counterpart. If he has a female boss, he looks down at her like, why would you be telling me what to do? And it also goes, the other way around as well. So just some final words. What are your final words to our viewers as to how to change their perception and their ideas surrounding gender roles and stereotypes?
Okay, with the little that we have shared, I'm hoping that the people listening to us would rethink in the way children are being raised. Like our final word would be, no gender is superior to the other, and no role is more important. So even a stay-home wife, I'm giving an example now, a stay-home wife that you think, okay, what is she bringing? She's just cooking and cleaning and raising the children and keeping it. The day she stops doing that, that man will not function. He will not function. She's preparing that home, making it livable, making it harmonious, making it a sanctuary. That's the only way the man is able to think clearly and take good decisions when he goes to work. So he has to respect her and appreciate what she's bringing on board. I'm just giving an example of a stay-home wife, and then they are the ones that, people would say, we don't even regard. Why can't you go and get a job? You don't know that what she's bringing on is a full, making sure that he is healthy, she's healthy, she's making sure the meals are right, everywhere is clean. She's bringing it just like on our streets. The day the cleaners, the sweepers decide, okay, we're not doing it, then we would now know the importance of those sweepers. Okay. You know, so we need to be able to appreciate one another. You know, and I keep saying, there's no man without woman, and there's no woman without man. You know, so let us appreciate what each one is bringing and respect, because when we have that mutual respect, then we have peace, then we have harmony, and then we're happy, and we can progress. That doesn't mean the woman cannot work, but go and work. But remember, your primary assignment is your home. Don't relegate it to the background, expecting house help to do something for you. The house help will not raise your children.
And it also goes...
It goes the other way,
yes. Yes. Wow. This conversation, I don't want it to end, but sadly, we have to call it a day for this discussion. Thank you so much for your insights. I learned a lot, and I'm sure our viewers have a lot to take home from this. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, we'll be going on a short break right now, and Gender Perspective continues. Stay with us. Wow, that was a very interesting conversation we had right there with Lady Jane Ndukwe. And like I said, I hope we all have something to take home from her opinions about this discussion. Well, gender roles and stereotypes have shaped societies for generations, influencing how men and women are expected to behave, work, and interact. But in today's world, are these traditional expectations still relevant, or are they changing? We hit the streets to hear what people think about gender roles, the stereotypes that come with them, and how they impact our daily lives. Do people still believe that men should be providers and women should be caregivers? Well, let's hear what they have to say.
To my own knowledge, gender role and stereotypes are those expectations that the society and the people, family expect from men and women, to carry out in any situation. It can be from the woman or from the man. In the case of the woman, a woman is expected to be the one to nurture a home. A woman is expected to take care of her family. A woman is expected to take care of her husband without complaints. And you are expected to look good from beginning to the end. You are expected to look classy. You are expected to, represent. Do you understand? So a woman also is expected to, okay, in the olden days, when women were not even allowed to go to school. You remember when women were not even allowed to go to school? Okay, there is a popular saying that says, education of women ends in kitchen. I don't know how to put it together. In the traditional version, women don't have a say in a cabinet meeting where chiefs are gathered. Women don't have a say to change any rule in a family. Women don't even have the right to give her daughter out in marriage. A woman cannot go to the farm in the traditional aspect. You cannot go to the farm and start cultivating and harvesting. It is a taboo in some parts of Nigeria. You cannot carry what is it called, a hoe or a cutlass to start digging. You want to make ridges, make your crops grow and every other thing. And then a woman is supposed to be so submissive to the husband that when your husband says sit down, shut up, you will sit down and shut up. The stereotypical aspect of men, a man is supposed to be the sole provider in every home, every organization. You're supposed to be the head, the shoulder that women lie on. We are supposed to come to you for everything. And then a man is not supposed to be a nurse. You're not supposed to be a nurse. When people see a man that is a hairstylist, I've seen so many men that are hairstylists, most of them start behaving like women. It's stereotypical, even if they are not gay. Do you understand? And some of them, they are nail technicians, they are into different things.
Traditional roles and gender stereotypes are the roles that male and female members of any community are being established to perform concerning the society that they belong to. Yes, those roles are important for the sustenance of the society. The male have their particular roles that they play, mostly in rural societies, is very amplified. And the females also have their roles that they also abide by to make sure that the smooth running of the society and the family in particular is sustained. Okay, how it affects men and women is mostly amplified in urban areas. In the urban areas, mostly in the cities, gender roles are being merged in workplaces, in residential houses that people live in. Most of the men that are there don't even stay with their families. They are workers. They stay alone most of the time. Then they go and visit their relatives back at home or their families. So some of the men do not play those kind of roles that traditional men in the rural areas play. Something like some of the men go to market to go buy things to cook for themselves. Some of the men wash their clothes. And some of the men, even maybe if they have 1 or 2 kids that are staying with them in the city, they do take care of the kids without reaching out to the female gender to assist. And the women too, you find out that some of them are even breadwinners in the cities. Some of them also take on jobs that are traditionally meant for men. So jobs such as working in industries, working in heavy-duty occupations. And some of the women also decide not to even get married and have children. And so gender roles are being, most of the gender roles are being diluted in urban areas. So that's where I think that it affects the genders is mostly in the urban areas that gender roles are being rubbed off and merged per se.
I think even like now, before, men are supposed to be like the sole breadwinner of the family, but now it's not even that way, because most times things are very difficult. If they allow only men to provide for the family, it's not going to work. So now women bring, men bring, and they join it together. Even like this Gen Z and 21st century generation, men now help out in the kitchen, help out in raising children, help out in like so many other things that they feel like it was women's duty before, like, and other things. For me, I feel like it is a good thing. I think it's helping the society positively, because now, as I said, the cooking part now, men are now chefs, and then they are using it to get money to provide for themselves, provide for their families. If it was left for women, now they will say, oh, it's women's duty. No, but because men are now doing it, they are already providing. And also the parts where women don't have to stay at home to now be taking care of children or stay at home and be doing house duty, it is also helping families. Maybe if they're supposed to be eating 1 square meal in a day, but because the wife is providing and the husband is also providing, it will make the family increase to maybe eating 2 or 3 times in a day.
Gender roles and stereotypes supposed to be an old kind of topic. We shouldn't be discussing it in this present time, because actually it's not relevant in the times and seasons we are now. Men are supposed to be doing this, or women are supposed to be doing this. It's just not quite relevant to me. I don't know about somebody else's opinion, because in my own family, I don't look towards those directions. Maybe a woman should do this. If you are married to a lady, and maybe in the world we are today, she's doing a lot to care for the family, you being a man supposed to help her, unless you have enough money for burial. You're supposed to be helping her to do a lot of house chores and things like that. If you're not doing your own work, and then even if you're doing your own work, when you come back house and the woman is not around, it doesn't take much from a man like me to warm the soup before the woman comes back. So those are the ways I see the issue of the topic of gender roles and stereotypes. Because if my own opinion, when I echo my opinion, maybe towards young people nowadays, they will say, this is an old man, or this is an old school something.
Wow. Our conversations today have shown that while traditional gender roles and stereotypes still exist, perspectives are shifting. Many people recognize the importance of breaking free from outdated expectations to create a more inclusive and equal society. Whether at home, in the workplace, or in relationships, challenging these stereotypes allows individuals to pursue their passions and potential without limitations. Well, I mean, today has been quite packed with a lot of informative things to take home, and that's the much we can take today for our episode on gender perspectives. Now, don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms showing right now on your screen. And as always, I am Uchenna Chimdi Oluoha. See you next week.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket. Signature TV. News in your pocket. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
New every morning on Signature TV, we open the day for you with needed energy, information, and required vibes to shape your day. From sizzling snippets of stories in various areas of life to intriguing conversations with net worth guests.
When you have people who have no track record becoming your leaders, you have a problem.
There's no outstanding gratuity when Obi took over from me. I left in all the accounts of Anambra State 13.8 billion for him.
Your day cannot be complete without Signature Morning on weekdays and Signature New Day on weekends. There is no better way to start your day except Signature Morning and Signature New Day every day on Signature TV.
Health is more than a diagnosis. It's your lifestyle, your choices, and your future. Join us on Inside Health, your weekly deep dive into the stories, science, and solutions shaping your well-being. From expert interviews to real-life journeys of healing and hope, we cover it all.
One of the complications of cancer management or treatment is they have some of them, at one point in time, you see them having anemia. Okay, so you see them at times being transfused. But at the same time, you come in with a diet.
Nutrition, mental health, innovations in medicine, fitness, and everyday wellness. Whether you're managing a condition, staying informed, or just living your best life, Inside Health is your trusted guide.
I'm Tigiti Agorum, and I'll be with you every week on Inside Health, only on Signature TV.
The way we see the world shapes the way we change it. Gender isn't just a checkbox, it's a lens. One that helps us understand the world more deeply and act more fairly. Gender Perspectives, a program for those ready to see more, do more, and be more. Designed to challenge assumptions, ignite conversations, and build inclusive solutions across every sector of society.
We are not, fighting the men. We are not saying we are equal in terms of rights. We're only asking they should recognize our existence.
Join us on Gender Perspectives, showing every Saturday by 4 p.m. Repeat every Wednesdays by 5 p.m. and Thursdays by 3 p.m. Change begins with perspective. Let's widen yours.
Vin Martin Obiora, with Most Reverend Emmanuel Chukwuma, OON, the Archbishop of the Ecclesiastical Province of ENUGU. ENUGU is like a rallying point of all the states in the southeast, be it Abia, Ebonyi, Anambra, or Imo. And today we have the pleasure of hosting a voice that keeps standing out. Is it the fight against corruption? Is it about the talk for restructuring? Is it about the talk for Nigerian unity? I'm talking about no other but His Grace, the Most Reverend Emmanuel Chukwuma, OON. Archbishop Chukwuma is the Archbishop of the Ecclesiastical Province of ENUGU. And when you talk about the ecclesiastical province of ENUGU, you're talking about ENUGU and Ebonyi. He's also the Anglican Bishop of ENUGU and the Chairman Christian Council of Nigeria ENUGU State. And before now, Archbishop Chukwuma was Chairman of CAN, Southeast Nigeria. Your Grace, you're welcome to this special interview.
Thank you very much. God bless you. Merry Christmas and a happy season to you all.
Yes, Your Grace, the big issue is an accusation laid by the governor of Imo State, His Excellency Richard Okorocha, that you are a card-carrying member of a political party in Nigeria. That when you talk, you don't talk as an objective person, you don't talk as an unbiased person, that you talk as a card-carrying member of a political party. And I ask, Your Grace, are you a card-carrying member of any political party in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. The answer is simply no. Because as far as I'm concerned, no political party in Nigeria will say that it has my name as a registered member. The unfortunate thing about Okorocha is that he has refused to understand the position of a religious leader, that we are the advocate of the masses and the conscience of the nation. Desmond Tutu in South Africa never belonged to any political party, but he fought for the survival and freedom of his people. And for me, as a bishop, this is my 28 years as a bishop in Nigeria. I'm an old bishop. I've worked in the West, I've worked in the North, and I'm in the East. I'm from this area. And so there's nothing at all that concerns Nigerians that I will not speak out. Because we are leaders and shepherds of people. And people are under the leadership of people in government. There are many things they are undergoing, like suffering, no salary, no employment, and I have to speak out to let the government know that people are not happy what's happening. That does not mean, therefore, that I belong to a political party. What led to Okorocha saying that, or whoever is saying that on his behalf, is because I challenged him that he has not paid salaries. Again, pensioners are crying. Gratuities are not paid. And even the workforce in Imo State is absolutely nonsensical. Businessmen are crying. Shops are broken down. Nothing. I mean, you can't tell me you're doing something and where people are not happy. To the point you are even creating a commission or probably a ministry for happiness. Who is sad? All these things he has not addressed. He has left the issue and trying to address party or no party. That is not the issue. The issue, has he paid salaries? Has he paid pensioners? Has he paid gratuities? Every week there's party. There's molding of senators, molding of images of people, spending the people's money. And I'm challenging him, and I say, he should be called to caution. And I'm cautioning him. Because if it doesn't take time, I'm out. to lead the church in Imo State for revolution. I will instigate the bishops to do that. And if he doesn't take time, he's going to see the worst of his time. The question is, the people are not happy. He should answer the question, not political party, not card carrier. I knew how he started from Jos. I was a bishop in Bauchi. What is his achievement?
No, but Okorocha says he has done so much, that he has done better than all the other governors in Imo State in the past put together.
I think people in Imo State should have the position to speak better. We speak, go to Imo State. Many of the roads are absolutely in a dilapidated situation. Okorocha is making noise for nothing. He's doing nothing, and I challenge him. I went to him by saying the other day, there's only like roads there. The Okigwe road that he said he was controlling to Angara, I mean, it's a disgrace for those claims of doing a sort of what you call double carriage. As far as I'm concerned, I challenge Okorocha. Let him tell us. It's not a matter of building and destroying structures in the capital and say they're building something. Go to the other parts of Imo State. Okorocha did nothing. Okorocha is not working, and I challenge him. Has he paid salaries? What has he done to the rural areas? I mean, he should be called back to his senses, and I challenge him. If the religious leaders in Imo State are not doing something, I'm saying right now, all religious leaders should speak out, and they should stop being complacent. There are members in Imo State that are suffering. And I'm out to speak because I belong to a state of collegiality of bishops. Right now, I'm even the chairman of the Joint Council of Bishops in the whole east of the Niger, or bishops of Anglican Communion. So whatever concerns Imo State concerns me, because we are the same. And of course, in Southeast, as patron of Southeast CAN chairman, as Southeast CAN, I'm a patron and a former chairman of Southeast. People come to complain to me here. If other bishops are not speaking and I'm speaking, does that mean that therefore that I'm a card carrier? I think he should respect himself and know that the bishops are the prophets of today. And I'm speaking to him that he should please see to the welfare of the workers in Imo State. That's all. And that is what he should address. Not card carrier like that. I'm not a registered member of any political party. If PDP is not doing well, I will attack them. If APC is not doing well, I'll attack them. If APCA is not doing well, I'll attack them. All I know is that we want good governance. And I mean it, that if Okorocha, the governor of Imo State, my very good friend, can show and can be able to show any evidence of my being registered to any political party, I will resign and then go into full politics. But if not, I need an apology for that.
You mean that?
Oh yes. If you can show any evidence that I'm a registered card member or card carrier of any political party, I bet you I will resign as a bishop. And I mean it. Let the whole nation know about it.
Okay. Okorocha has tried to justify. I mean, you said something about creation of a ministry of happiness. And he says it's very, very important in Nigeria today. What would you have against a ministry of happiness if that is going to help the well-being of the people?
Now, where is that ministry going to fit in the structure and ministry in the federal structure? Where is it going to fit in? Wherever or where in any of the states in Nigeria have you ever found any ministry called Ministry for Happiness? Then there should also be a ministry for sadness.
But Okorocha says he's a trailblazer, so he's starting something new.
Starting something, and who is occupying it? He's a self-centered man. I think he doesn't know what he's doing. What is Ministry of Happiness going to do? What happiness are you creating when you have destroyed the shops of the people? When you're not paying salaries? When you're not paying pensions and gratuity? When people are lavishing in abject poverty? And even crime is increasing in Imo State. Go and find out. There's high rate of crime in Imo State than any state in Southeast now. So what happiness are you creating with the Ministry of Happiness? I think it's an antithetical statement, and also and it's very much antithetical to the government he's running. And it's unacceptable. It's absurd and ultra-bias.
Okay, Your Grace, let's leave Okorocha for now.
Yes.
You know, you've been one Nigerian who's clearly said you are against corruption of any type in Nigeria.
That's right.
When you look at the job that APC and President Buhari are doing, do you think they're succeeding in the war against corruption?
Well, I have once said it, even in my write-ups, that corruption is not being fought in its entirety. And I've said to Mr. President, you cannot fight corruption cleanly and clearly in the midst of hunger, unemployment, and poverty. It's not possible. You have to address poverty, unemployment, hunger, crime, violence. When these things are addressed, corruption will go. Are you fighting corruption when a bag of rice is more than the minimum wage? Are you fighting corruption when people in the office are not regularly paid salaries? Are you fighting corruption when there's selective negligence? If anybody is a corrupt man and he has been found to be a thief, then he joins APC, then you circumvent him, and then you pursue those in other parties. Is that fighting corruption? And again, when people have been identified to be the people who are returning this money, which they have not told us who are these people, why have they not been arrested, prosecuted, and somebody like Innocent is being chased about? I mean, you can imagine that. Those you said you have collected a lot of money, you have recovered some funds from them. Who are these people? Where are they?
But the government, I mean, the federal government says they have no hand in the arrest of Innocent. And the FCC is saying that Innocent has been indicted in a certain criminal.
Listen, this is witch hunting. As far as I'm concerned, it's another way of witch hunting an evil man. As far as I'm concerned, that is not an issue. First of all, the EFCC should go and look at their acts and the ways for which and the limits of their powers. You don't come and arrest somebody in his house like a criminal. This is somebody whom the government gave national honors. You have honored this man for promoting industry in Nigeria. You have honored him for creating employment in Nigeria, and they want to destroy him. I mean, those people who are involved in criminal act and are embezzling money in government, what have you done to them? EFCC should go after them. Those people who are hiding in APC, what have you done against them? And because an evil man. Now see what has happened to GTB. They are denying that their accounts are on it. If somebody has a personal business transaction, and then you are coming as a government organization or probably to now arrest somebody, I mean, you are stepping out of more than your pants. Or right now, as a bishop and a bishop now, you come and say you are going to arrest me because I have something to do with my church. What's your concern? Constitution has it there for them to deal with me anyway, or probably the bank has their ways of dealing with somebody who has anything to do with them. And when the case is in court, then the law should be allowed to have his way. But for them to jump because they are hungry and they want to be settled, I think the EFCC should be very careful. Time has come that people have to let, and I'm saying it here, I'm not afraid of EFCC. EFCC should know their boundary. They are stepping their bounds. And if they don't take time, they will lose their relevance. They are doing a good job. I'm very much for fighting corruption. But it should be done with decency. You don't do this abroad. Human dignity and human rights should be respected. Even abroad, when the police is leading you away, they give you respect, they call respect. They don't come and carry you like a criminal. And then you want to destroy someone's personality. It's not fair. How many of those people who embezzled money and all, have they ever gone to those, even Lawan, and some other people who were caught with good some have they ever gone to arrest them like that? Innocent, I think Assange should be handled with respect and with dignity. And we both are not happy the way it was handled. So as far as I'm concerned, corruption should be fought in the right way, decently, with sincerity, and with absolute dispatch without any selective negligence. That is my own. I'm against corruption. But it's not because somebody has now left the FCC. Look at, I'll give you an example in ENUGU here. The former governor of ENUGU State, Sullivan Chima, was invited by EFCC. He was found to be corrupt. But he has now jumped to EPC. They left him. You after Chimaroke. Why should Chimaroke be the point of purchase? I mean, of chase, point of chase every time. The person who took off, you discovered him to be corrupt, and you indicted him. Now he has joined APC. You now forget about him. And because Chimaroke is not a member of APC, you after him. How about Jim Wobodo? He was indicted for getting money on this point, 500 million. from from money from somewhere, what do you call it, the security officer, to share to people who are PDP stalwarts in the southeast. You indicted him, but now you join the APC, the case is closed. And so on and so forth. So I don't believe that this government is sincere in fighting corruption. And in its entirety, people are hungry, people are unemployed, people are frustrated. The change people are expecting is not what they are seeing. And so, people are no more sincere. And even the whistle blowing, you can see it's losing its value. Because you are putting a sort of, let's say, a sort of reinforcement that if you do this, you do this. People are no more interested. And it's not working anymore. I think we should fear God and be sincere with whatever we are doing, and do it with absolute honesty and, let's say, equity and justice.
Your Grace, each time you speak,
yes,
you tend to talk about a kind of, I don't know whether this word should be the perfect word for it, marginalization,
yes,
probably of the Southeast,
yes,
or government going out of the way to ill-treat the people of the Southeast.
Yes.
When you talk about things like this, a lot of Nigerians who are not from the Southeast worry about the, where you're basing your analysis or the position you take. When you talk about this seeming marginalization or seeming maltreatment or ill-treatment of the Southeast, what are the issues for you?
Well, the issue is that I reside in Southeast. And as far as I'm concerned, Southeast must be protected. And as far as I'm concerned, the interest of my people in Southeast is my concern. In fact, the interest of Nigerians are my concern. I'm not saying probably the whole Southeast is the only people being marginalized or talking about marginalization. But the point is that the government of today must realize that this government is the government of the people for the people, democracy. And if I'm playing politics with selective negligence and with discrimination, it doesn't work. Now, I give an example. Look at the police. Look at the army. Tell me who from Southeast is in the top rank. Most of our people in the top rank have been retired. Even in recruitment now, go and find out. The Southeast candidates have been marginalized. Even in immigration. Even in the Navy. Let them go and investigate how many Southeast people are being recruited now. They're talking about the Executive Council. Tell me who is from Southeast. The Armed Forces Ruling Council, or whatever.
The Federal Executive Council.
Yes, the Executive Council. Who among these people? Is it the SGF, which ought to go to Southeast? Is not given to a Northerner, and was a Christian. The Vice President is from Southwest. The Chief of Staff is from the North. The President is from the North. The Secretary, what do you call it now? The Secretary of the Government, or what do you call it, is also from the West. And most of those people who are occupying top posts, and all the top military officers, including the IG, are from no one from the Southeast. And if you come again to the ministers, we will say they are occupying the major
and they say juicy ministries.
And I've told people and told Mr. President that these people's appointment to ministerial posts does not translate into infrastructural development of the Southeast. It's not going in the science and technology. What is there? What is he going to take here? Or Gige, that we are asking to be chasing laborers. When there's a problem, Gige will come and mediate. What has he got to bring from? What has he got to bring from here? What is juicy there? Or is it industry? What has he got to bring from there? The things that we are talking about, and we still say, is that Southeast people are very intelligent. They deserve a better appointment than what I'm giving them today.
But, Your Grace, the Southeasterners before now occupied these positions, secretary to government, finance minister.
Yes.
What did individuals do with it?
Yes.
They are not going to remain there all forever and ever.
Yes, we had it and we missed it. We accept.
So why are you blaming for that?
We are blaming that even right now, at least some of these posts to be given to us. Yes, I agree that some of our posts that were being held by Southeast people, they misused it. That is why, again, that time I even blame them that sometimes you don't blame Buhari for whatever happened now because we are now in a different dispensation. What we would have gotten at that time was missed because at that time, talk about works, isn't it? The people who are in charge of the chairman of the National Assembly for Works, Southeast, the House of Rep, chairman of Works, Southeast, the farmer, Southeast, Minister of Finance, Southeast, and so on and so forth. But the question is, what did they use it for? They were just on their own self-centeredness and selfishness.
You forgot to also talk about the SGF.
Yes,
at that time.
The SGF too, the same thing. But again, at that particular time, yes, we missed it. But the question now is, for now, even though if we don't occupy all these positions, that does not mean therefore that we should be marginalized or not given some of these posts. We're not occupying any of these posts anymore. But again, I must again say, we are not saying the president has not tried enough to now change his mind. Because what he was saying that we do not vote for him Southeast, and because of that, he will not treat us as others. But I think, thank God, in the current budget, that Southeast is not remembered. Because what I'm saying, apart from appointments, the structural development of Southeast is very important. Now, ENUGU Onitsha Express Road is now being given attention. Hopefully that they'll be honest with it. ENUGU Port Harcourt Road, hopefully they'll be honest with it and do it well and strong.
But this is not the first time those roads are being.
That's what I'm saying. That's I say honestly. I say honestly that they will be honest with it. If not honest with it again, we go back to square one. Money is being voted, but people again corruption. Even the person who was Minister of Works. From Edo State. Nobody has called him to ask him what has happened to the money. Nobody has arrested that man. That man should be arrested. Yes. That man should be asked what has happened to the money for the works, for the roads that were awarded. Because if right now, even nothing is done, like we are trying to find out from Fashola now, if all the money that's been approved is not being used judiciously, it should be queried. Because that is when you have missed the mark. The corruption comes when the minister and the contractors are palling together and not being honest in definitely carrying out what they should do. And the rain comes again, they say rainy season has stopped, and then there's a variation upon variation. They are telling lies. That's where they collaborate. And government should open their eyes wide to know that these things are happening. We don't want this thing to continue. But at the end of it, I think things are improving now, apart from moving on this marginalism. Even though you don't give us any post, but remember us for the federal allocation of things like making sure that more funds are given to development and presence of the federal government is made in our area. I mean, the people in the Senate are now trying to say, okay, federal polytechnic here, federal school there. Let them begin to talk and let federal government vote money for them. This country belongs to all of us. And that's why in this situation, time has come, we have to go back to restructuring. And that structure is what I say, because when the whole thing is centered in Abuja, it will not work. Before, when we have the regions, and the resources from each regions were being enhanced and harnessed to the development of the regions, was not what we used for even this University of Nigeria, Nsukka, through palm kernel. That of cocoa for the southwest, for Bafemi Awolowo University and so on, Cocoa House, and that of the north, Ahmadu Bello University and so on, most of them from granite. But today, when people are no more going back to think about what can you be able to produce from your various regions or zones, and we are depending on federal government, then there will be agitations, because these things are not properly distributed, particularly those in South-South, where you get the money from oil, and their areas are devastated. I traveled to the South-South area, Calabar, Port Harcourt, and all these areas, Bayelsa. It's a shame. The number of local governments in Bayelsa is lower than anywhere, and so the allocation for local governments there is less than what you give some areas in the north. And these are things we have to look into. And that is why I'm saying that restructuring in this situation is not a dangerous thing. We must begin to think about it so that we can be able to have equitable distribution of resources.
But, you know, some people are saying that, yes, restructuring, how do we go about it? Some people say, okay, let's go back to the Jonathan conference.
Yes.
And look at what was submitted.
Yes.
The APC says, look, it wasn't representative enough. What would you recommend?
APC has nothing to say about that. The thing, if it's not representative enough, let them bring it out first. Look at it. If everything there is not what you can attend to, but there's some things reasonable there that you can attend to, which I feel we must not neglect. The National Assembly should call for it and then advise Mr. President on the things they should do about it. I don't think it's right to say that they're not having right representation on the enough. Why did they not talk at that particular time? It was well represented. People of timber and caliber.
No, but even then they were not. They said they were not. As a party, they didn't participate in it. Even though their state governors and governments had participated.
It was not true. It was not true. And as far as I'm concerned, okay, if that is the issue, therefore, then there should be a way for us now to have a referendum. The present governor should organize a referendum.
It's not in our constitution.
Yes, it's not in the constitution, but again, in a state of this type of agitation, even that national conference was not in our constitution. Was it in our constitution? National conference was not in our constitution. It's a matter of necessity.
Okay.
And when it's a matter of necessity, therefore, for peace to reign, you can't be talking about this, no more hate speech, no more this and that, and you are doing hate appointment, hate this, and hate relationship. There must be a necessity for which something has to be invented to create that atmosphere of peace. We want to live together. And that's why, again, I say the peaceful coexistence of this nation is negotiable. The unity of this nation is negotiable. To say it's not negotiable is not right. Because we have to negotiate. If you don't negotiate with me, I'm going to agitate. If you don't negotiate with me, then we don't live in peace. If you don't negotiate, then we continue to suspect each other. These are the things. We have to negotiate and find out, my brother, what is the problem? Why are you annoyed? Why are you feeling marginalized? And why are you feeling neglected? Or why are you feeling that I'm cheating you? We talk about that and negotiate, and then we now settle and find a way of where we can come to a round and a center agreement. That's what I'm saying about. We're not quarreling about anybody. We are all brothers and sisters. We have intermarried, we have interrelated. I have many Northerners who are my very good friends, who Muslims. They haven't been the Bishop Bauchi before. Very nice people. And Igbos too. And most of the Northerners are here in Yorubas. For me, I have lived in 3 regions of Nigeria. I cannot at all disengage from being a friend of the Yoruba man or your Hausa man. They are very nice. But it seems that we must disagree to agree, misunderstand to understand.
Okay, Your Grace, I mean, it's easy for those of us in the Southeast to say, oh, we're being marginalized. Yes, we need restructuring. We need this, we need that. And even some of our brothers have even gone to the extent of saying we want to secede. But let's come back to the Southeast. We just talked about Southeasterners occupying, very relevant positions where they could have, made a lot of impact in the infrastructure and well-being of the Southeast. Let's look at that again. Before, as they say, charity begins at home. Before going to place our problems with outsiders, what are we doing about the Southeast?
Thank you very much.
What are we doing about the people of the Southeast?
Well, as I said, I have lived in the West, I have lived in the North, and I always say the most difficult tribes and area in this country are the Igbos. The Easterners are the most difficult people to relate with. I would say we are people of Ekwe. We are very heady, we are very stubborn, we are very disloyal, and we are very disrespectful to each other. I give an example. When I was in Yoruba land, a Yoruba person will respect elders, and we lie down or kneel down to greet an elder. In the North, the same thing. The young ones respect their elders. In the Igbo man, nobody respects anybody. The respect accorded to elders and people in high position in the North and Southwest, it's not the same received in the West. In the West, in the East, it's a matter of Onekebo. Who are you? Do you feed me? Do I feed you? That's the language you will hear. And that is the cause of the problem. Because everybody wants to be a leader. Everybody wants to be a guy. Nobody wants to be a servant. But we cannot all be leaders. We must agree that somebody must lead and others must be patient and obedient followers. As you have problem of leadership, you have problem of followership. Everywhere and more in the East. This is because, I don't know, since after the Civil War, we have lost many things that concerns our values. And we have refused to imbibe with ourselves that's due respect, fear of God, and value. It seems that we value money more than dignity and integrity. And that's where the problem comes. The day in the East we put money aside, put material things aside, and talk about integrity, character, personality, and fear of God, then things will be better. Then it is then that we can talk and agree and stop betraying ourselves. I won't say more than that. But the thing there that we have a problem. And this problem, as I said, is both in our traditional circle, in the political circle, and also in the religious circle. Because we too, as religious leaders, we have our own problems. There is discrimination. I cannot rule that out. For me, as I'm concerned, I'm very much ecumenical. I can relate to the Roman Catholic person, Pentecostal, anybody, as much as we are calling them of our Lord Jesus Christ. But let me start from ourselves. But with me, having that free mind, can those in other religions relate to us the way I'm relating to them? Then talk about political parties. Somebody will jump. You have more of cross-carpeting in the East than in the other areas of our country. Why are we cross-carpeting too much in the East? Because of selfishness. Somebody is being made to be where you are by a political party. And tomorrow, because you feel you are too ambitious for something, tomorrow you jump away, you now want to join a ruling party. You forgot the party that made you. How can you be sincere to the interest of the people around? These are the issues. Okorocha, who is talking today, we are talking about, was made by Abga. And now he betrayed Abga. Ojukwu, through the sentiment of Ojukwu, he became the governor of Imo State. Now today, he even wanted Abga to be exterminated. Because he's now APC. And even in the APC he is today. What has he used the APC to do for the Igbos? Selfishness, self-centeredness. That's what you see all over the whole place. Our politicians also must begin to think about how do you come together to develop the Igbo land, the Southeast Igbo for that matter, than your own political interests and selfish interests. There are more sirens in the East than you have in the West or in the North.
Your Grace, a lot of people say you're being too hard on Okorocha, for instance.
Yes.
There are a number of other governors in the Southeast that their people, those they rule, say they're not doing well. And they say they've not heard you talk about these other governors.
Which governors? Which governors are the governors? Look, listen to me. As far as I'm concerned, I relate to all the governors in the whole of Southeast. None of them is out of their head than the Okorocha. And I speak to all of them one by one. I'm in touch with all of them. If you're not doing well, I tell you you're not doing well. Okay, if you talk about that, in ENUGU State, the governor is paying salaries. In Ebonyi State, they are paying salaries. In Abia State is another problem that I know, but not as much as Imo State. Then the worst is Imo State. Tell me which other governors. And many of them as they are, none of them is arrogant as this man. None of them is so much outrageous in spending than this man. The man is not behaving like an Igbo man. And people call him Okoro Hausa. I knew him when he was I know him when he was in Jos. We grew from selling a car to Kuba. I was in Bauchi as bishop. He was nobody when I was a bishop 28 years ago. Okorocha was nobody. So as I'm concerned, I feel that starting from a humble state, he should not use the government resources to be able to blow himself up.
But Your Grace, at what point did we have this point of departure between you and Okorocha? Because walking into your office, for instance,
yes,
and of course our viewers, I'm sure, will be seeing it now.
Yes.
As there's this picture of you and Okorocha. So at what point did this yummy relationship? At what point did it go so?
We have never yummied, and Okorocha will not say I've ever collected any cover from him or begged him for any money. I don't beg money from politicians. The thing is that the concern of the people is what has made us to depart. Because he has, look, if Okorocha, and we have talked to him many times, do you know that it's not even related to any of our bishops in Imo State? Even with our Bishop Obinna, who supported him to come to that post, he's not in relationship with him. He's out of relationship with every religious leader in Imo State. And tell me how that can continue. He doesn't regard anybody. The problem is that if you have regard for church leaders, we have regard for you. Most of these other governors have regard for us, not because of anything. We represent God. We respect begins respect, but when you don't respect us and you think that we are nobody, then we tell you are nobody too. But
is it just because he doesn't respect
you? No. The thing that when the religious leaders talk to him and speak to him, he doesn't respect them. He doesn't take what they say. Even right now today, I have phoned some bishops and said, what are you people doing? He said, this man doesn't listen. He doesn't listen. He doesn't even read fire. He doesn't read, Okorocha does not read fire. Let me tell you this, I challenge him. All the files in his office, how many times has he devoted time to read? Today is in Abuja, tomorrow is in Sokoto, tomorrow is everywhere. Does he have time to read files? Even the chief judge that is now, he spent money for the House of Assembly to put the person there. I mean, what type of nonsense are we talking about? When you have to spend so much money to put somebody as a chief judge of your state, bribing the members of the House of Assembly, and you have openly to say, after I know how much I spent to put you there.
Do you have evidence of what you're saying?
Oh, ask Imo State people. Let me tell you, I'm a religious political mafia. Let everybody know that. I'm out to defend the people and to be advocate of the people. As far as I'm concerned, I don't have any skeleton in my cupboard. But the concerns of the people is my own. I don't want to know which political party you belong to. But you must be fair in your governance. And you must be honest in your governance.
I'm interested in this religious political mafia.
Oh yes.
What do you mean by that?
Oh, good. Now, you see, as the government have their own strategy and also have their own, let's say, network
of gathering information.
Yes. A good religious leader must be able to have that. So that if you are informative and you are very much in tune, look, I'm a news addict. And I am current both national and international. So when I speak with authority and I speak with evidence. That's my own. Because you don't just speak anyhow. The thing is that I gather information and I authenticate the evidence from the area I collect my information. So when I speak, if you want me to produce it, I'll let you know. So this is the thing. So the thing is that when you don't just begin to speak without, go to Imo State and find out. Go to every state and find out. We move around. And as I told you, in the whole of Southeast right now, I'm the most senior bishop by consecration as far as bishops are concerned in the Anglican Communion. And I'm now the chairman of the Joint Council of the Dioceses in the East, covering both Southeast and up to Port Harcourt. So hence, when a bishop has a problem in any of his dioceses, it comes to Joint Council, of which I'm now the chairman. Shouldn't I be concerned about it? Shouldn't I know about it and talk about it? These are the issues. Gone are the days when people would think that it doesn't concern me. Business as usual. No. The church must be a revolutionary point, an agent.
Your Grace, I've heard some people say that when everything is good between you and a political leader, maybe a governor, and he's taking care of your needs and all that, he does no wrong.
No.
And when there's a governor, a political leader who is not, doing all those for you, then you start picking
Listen. What does any governor or any political person do for me? Ask my members. Nothing. Do you know as I'm here in ENUGU, I don't have a single plot of land. Go and find out. I don't have a single plot of land. Go and check my account, how much is there? Any money I get from people, I use it for charity. And I don't go about begging politicians for money. So there's nobody who will tell me because it's too expensive. No, I create a relationship with you and me, between you and I. But if you don't do well, I either come privately to talk to you. If you don't listen, I will blow it up.
Actually, I was going to ask.
Yes.
Have you had a private audience with Okorocha, for instance?
Does he create the avenue for that? Does he ask him? Does he create? If he knew and he knows, I expect him to say, Bishop, can I have audience with you? I will come and see you. I'm going to tell him I want to see you. Okay, I'll give you appointment. Has ever given? Even with the bishops in the Imo State, has ever given them appointment? If you don't give us appointment, don't allow us to see you, then we'll talk and then we'll create a venue where we can talk. This is the issue. Ask if any bishop, even from the East, even the bishop who is Cyril Okorocha, who is there in Owerri, do you know he doesn't have any relationship with any good relationship with Okorocha himself, who is the governor? This is the issue. None of the bishops.
Okay, Your Grace, let's look at the Southeast.
Yes.
I mean, what would be your recommendation? I mean, you have access to all these governors. What would be your recommendation for a greater Southeast unity? You know, we've had these opportunities of what they call the Southeast economic this, economic that. What would be your suggestion for a collaboration where the issues of the Southeast, including infrastructural development, can be jointly tackled by the governors and leaders of the Southeast?
Well, the thing is that we thank God for the Ohanes Ndigbo now, led by Nyawodo. If they are serious with the present leadership of Ohanes Ndigbo, it's a very great, good avenue. Just to have like the Arewas, the Afeniferis. There's a forum for which leaders, political and can come together and then be able to agree. But when you have an Igbo land where Ohanes Ndigbo is there are other factions again there. It's a problem. But if everybody can organize and agree to come under Ohanes Ndigbo, all the fragments of other areas coming Ohanes Ndigbo, it will be a very good forum. We also as religious leaders are also connected to be a good forum. If others fail, I think time has come and God give me the grace. If other religious leaders will agree, we can also call most of these people. Let us come and reason together, the Bible says, and see how we can help you people, prayerfully and otherwise, to help our people who are there. Because as far as I'm concerned, I find that when the people lose vision, my people perish because they lost vision. When the society loses vision and people in government lose vision, the church should intervene. When human connection fails, divine intervention must take over. So we as a church leader, as church leaders, also find a way to come together. And I'm trying to make something to happen, even from starting from ENUGU State from next year, if the religious leaders will agree. All people appointed to political posts to represent the constituencies, we will call them to go and give us account in the church. Because there are some of them who are also presenting us various areas that are not giving account to anybody, whether House of Rep or Senate, or even House of Assembly, or councillors or chairmen. But they are representing us. The church should be able to say, come and give us accounts. But sometimes even when you invite them to see us, they don't come. But time is going to come because, thank God, next year is the year before election. We will catch them. So I think we'll catch them. And when they come, we don't have... Listen, it has come to church. It has come to time when the church must become an agent of revolution and change. Our Lord Jesus Christ came to change our revolutionary a lot of things. He was a great social action man, and that the church leaders must be, and that is my target.
But some of your colleagues don't agree with you,
That's
your
what?
style. For them, they can only say whatever they need to say in the church.
Complacency.
They think that some of you are too political.
Complacency and timidity. Look, the Bible has said He has not given us the spirit of timidity or fear, but of boldness and sound mind. Unless you have skeleton in your cupboard, why should you not come out and speak as you just did? Just like the prophets of old, thus says the Lord. God will ask of each of us on the last day. I won't want to perish with anybody. I won't want to go to hell with anybody because I refuse to speak out. The same problem that our religious leaders, most of them, I pity them. Many of them, with situation, many of them are hungry. Many of them also, poverty is giving them problem. But for me, I'm not a hungry man. And by God's grace, I don't depend on politicians to survive. I have friends, I have relations who are really with me in my vision. That with them and God's support, sincerely, that I don't seek for myself. And I'm telling you here, go and find out. How many houses have I got in Nigeria or abroad? I don't have. This is my 28th year as a bishop. Why should I stop speaking because of what I get for people or what I will get? The day I will die, I'll be buried in the church compound. And all I'm out for, that I've remembered for what I have been able to do and achieve for humanity. Because nobody's going to ask how many houses, how many cars, how many children you have. And if you have that in mind, therefore, like the prophets of old, we should be able to speak out and speak, because that is what the Lord has sent us to do. So if they don't agree, that shouldn't deter me from speaking. But I'm calling them, let them out, let them be bold enough to come. Not only, it's not like the one voice crying in the wilderness. Only one voice in the wilderness also made impact. John the Baptist. So I am calling all of my brothers and all church leaders in Southeast and Nigeria. When Okoje was there, was speaking sometime, they thought he was mad. Now since Okoje stopped, Kuka is there. Kuka, I thank them for people like Kuka. To come myself, we are invited to speak at the Southern senators at Calabar. And we know what we said and what we told them. I mean, this is the issue. People should be bold to speak out their mind. And we should speak out and let people know that, look, things are going bad. And I'm not antagonistic, I'm not cantankerous, I'm not criticizing anybody, but I'm saying, let things be done aright. People come suffering. These members are members who come to the church with agony. We counsel them. But the thing that we say, but Bishop, what are you doing to talk to these people? They ask us. And what we tell them? We must be to let them know that there is hope for tomorrow by the way we speak to people and speak to the conscience of those in society and the positions for them to change. And it is when we speak through the power of the Holy Spirit that they be convicted of their sins, convinced of their sins, and converted from their sins. These are the things we are doing about.
Your Grace, you've talked about unity in the church, being at home with people of other denominations, people of other religions. How can we, using the church and using the position of people like you, to deepen religious unity in the country? Because, oftentimes you see that some problems, besides being political, are religiously engineered.
Well, I must tell you, with my experience, both in study and practicality, everything depends on individuals, your conviction, and also your belief. We are all creatures of God. And being creatures of God, therefore, we should understand that we must coexist irrespective of whatever religion we have. And that is where I also, in the study, when we talk about dialogue, dialogue is voluntarily, and you must be free in dialogue, and there's no fear in dialogue. Now, for a Muslim, let's start with Muslim and Christians. They should be the best friends ever in the world. Because if you study Islam, our comparative religion, you find that Christians and Muslims were the closest people. They call them Al-Kitab, people of the book. These are the closest people who were very much against idol worshipping. The founder of Islam was against idol worshipping. Before he now tried to say, when he saw the people, the Jews, and people worship the only Yahweh, and they felt that this is the only way you can worship God, and God gave him a vision for which he went on a certain sacred separation of himself, retreat, to have that voice, Ikra, recite, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, which means there is no other God but one God, and Muhammad is his prophet. And that led to his persecution, for which he now ran to Abyssinia. And the people he met there that gave him sojourn were the Christians, who he called the Al-Kitab, people of the same book. And if you look at the Quran and the Bible, you see some of the similarities. So why should we be enemies of ourselves? And Christians and Muslims should be, if you go to the West, very good. Christians, the same family, Christian, Muslims, they eat together, they sleep together. When I was in North as bishop, the Muslims, when they're celebrating their own festival, I give them gifts. And Christmas, they give me gifts. We get nothing. When we get to heaven, God will judge. But don't force anybody into your religion. That is where that one comes. Don't be sentimental in distribution of things or appointments. Today in Nigeria, why we have problems that when somebody is in the post and you are a Christian Muslim, you are too sentimental about your people than the others. And that causes problems. But because among Christians themselves, problems of denominationalism. Some people feel they are more spiritual than others. The worst of it is our brothers who are in the Roman Catholic Church. They don't want to relate much with other churches. Thank God we are Anglicans are closer. Because even in Rome, we have the Anglo-Catholics, we have the Anglican, we call it Archic. We have the Anglican Center in Rome. And we have most of our religions together more than other churches. Again, you have some other churches now where they have so much proliferation. People have founded their own churches because of charismatism. And many of them don't have even basis of leadership. And that's another problem, causing problems. And even what you call the oracle people are already in the church. So it makes it difficult.
What do you mean, the oracle people?
Oh, you talk about Dibia. You talk about people, the people who do this oracle, and people who are about the witchcrafts. They are in the church now.
Fortune telling.
Fortune tellers and all this. So it makes it difficult. And they're confusing the issue. You don't even know which one is the genuine Christian or Christianity or the one that's a fake Christianity. And because of the hardship of the people, many people are being deceived because of visions and prophecies that are not even true. And many of the politicians are victims. When people come and say Ijebego, and say that they see vision about you. I have a quarrel with the last one about Hannah West of I said, Mr. You're not going anywhere. And I said, don't waste your money.
Which one?
I won't tell you, but I said, don't waste your money. That person is going nowhere. But the person who said you are going somewhere, they gave that person 100 million. Who says a man of God? And the person who gave one says, the person, the professor will win, failed. But me, I will tell you, you won't go anywhere, my friend, Mr. Man. Don't give me money, don't waste your money. I become a bad man. These are the issues where...
So how would you say a thing like that? Do you see visions? Are you a prophet?
Look, you must be mathematical, prophetic, and also very much connected to the feelings of the people.
Okay.
When you have these ideas, you know where you're going. I don't begin to tell people lies because of money. You bring money to me. I am in ENUGU here. The people bring and say, pray for us. I say, I'm not a prayer contractor. No, you are going nowhere. Waste no money. And if you don't listen to me, you lose. Later you come and say, Abodima, that you will have listened to me. But this is the issue. But some people just take the money and say, hey, Your Excellency. Even when it's not excellent at all, you say, Your Excellency, God bless you. It's a lie. They must listen to the truth and listen to the pulse of the people and what's around. And that is where money politics must cease. So our people again here, because of money, the church has lost its value. People no more respect the men of God because we have become stooge and we become more or less nothing in their hands. And I refuse to worship anybody because of money. I will not worship because of money. I will not. As far as I'm concerned, power belongs to God. And once all the religions have don't know that, we know that power belongs to God, and we will not worship anybody because of money, then we can talk together and speak to them with one voice, strongly and against evil. That is where I stand. So the thing that you must know who you are and what you believe in, and then begin now to think about what we can do to really allow the will of God and the mind of God to be made known in society we belong, and they speak the truth and let the truth set us free. So I'm appealing that our religious leaders, let us come together and salvage our people. Our people are in the hands of the enemy and devil, and in the hands of satanic oppression. And still, when we come together, united with one voice and with one mind, irrespective of our denominations, prayerfully, we can deliver our people and then set them free from the present oppression.
Okay, Your Grace, always an exciting time talking with you.
Thank you.
But on a final note,
yes,
how can we achieve this Nigeria that you've kind of given us a vision about? How can we achieve this Nigeria where equity and fairness would prevail? How can we achieve a Nigeria where political leaders see themselves as servants and not rulers? And how can we achieve this future Nigeria where we are told that everything will work?
Well, we are talking about Nigerianness. The way to achieve the Nigeria we are talking about is number one, fear of God. 2, sacrifice. 3, selflessness. 4, hard work. 5, respecting value system and knowing that money is not everything. Again, ready to serve and not to serve. Committed to service. Ready to give to your country and not what your country can give to you. Determined that the legacy you will leave behind matters, not the accumulation of wealth you gather where you are positioned. If you have all this in mind, Nigeria will be a better place. And finally, love for one another, concern for one another, eschewing envy, jealousy, eschewing evil mind, thought against one another, and eschewing oppression. Don't oppress people with what you have. And also being contented. Contentment is very much, it's of great gain. No? Fear of God and contentment, godliness and contentment. Once it is paramount in your mind, you will know that whatever position you occupy, that you are going to give account of it to Almighty God. Because whether we like it or not, each of us shall give account of our stewardship, even me as a bishop and archbishop. And mine is going to be worse. But if you don't bear that in mind, you do things with impunity. You do things as if to say Nigeria belongs to you or a state belongs to you because you are there today. Tomorrow you will not be there. And it's happening. People are there today, tomorrow are not there. Now pictures up today, tomorrow come down. If you realize that the mark you make, the legacy you leave, and the things you do that people remember for tomorrow will be the legacy people remember you for, then you will therefore be very careful, and then you think about a Nigeria that all of us can be proud of. And then equity and justice will prevail, and there will be no corruption in this country, and there will be fairness. So once you bear that in mind, the Nigeria we're talking about will be very much achieved if we all agree that we shall leave this world one day and give account to our Maker.
Your Grace, I think that will be a beautiful place to leave this interview. I must thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Your forthrightness each time I speak with you makes me come back and come back and come back.
Thank you.
Thanks.
God bless you and God bless Nigeria. Continue good work.
And I've been speaking with Most Reverend Emmanuel Chukwuma, OON, the Archbishop of the Ecclesiastical Province of ENUGU. I am Vin Martin Wobiora Ilo. Thanks for watching.
Bright and early, as the day breaks, as the newspaper headlines trail the stories that shape the day, we at Signature TV trail the headlines that trail the day. We interrogate the headlines. We analyze the stories that make the headlines.
Wyatt is overrated, and they even overrated themselves and went into CBT. They are insensitive of some Nigerian children who have never heard what it was CBT.
With passion and emotion, we drive the conversation to change the narrative.
Let nobody be deceived by Nigerian high level of performing in agriculture export. We are still where we are.
Newspaper review on Signature TV every morning on Signature Morning, weekdays, and Signature New Day, weekends. Newspaper review on Signature TV. We do not just review the headlines, we make the headlines relevant to our daily lives.
Welcome to Global News on Signature TV. I am Barry Kumo Ado. In the headlines, ENUGU hosts 37th International Trade Fair with focus on MSMEs' global competitiveness. 9 soldiers, 1 policeman killed in Kebbi ambush. Airstrikes killed 7 fighters in Iraq's Anbar. And Spain's PM says Israel to inflict on Lebanon same destruction as in Gaza. Details shortly.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking. Events occur and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
The ENUGU State Government says it is ever committed to creating a business-friendly environment through strategic infrastructure development and investor-driven policies. The ENUGU State Governor Peter Mba gave the assurance while declaring open the 37th edition of the ENUGU International Trade Fair at the Permanent Trade Fair Complex in ENUGU. Mba was represented by the Deputy Governor, Ifeanyi Osai, said that the deliberate efforts taken by the government has continued to position it as a preferred destination for both local and international investments.
I'm thrilled, and I want to thank the leadership of our chamber, the past leadership, the current leadership, and all those that did all they could to make this dream a success. Yes, I recognize the effort of our government led by Dr. Peter Mba, the governor, for all the intervention we've made. But why I blow muted trumpet about it is because it's essentially in line with our determination to deconstruct the challenges that businesses have faced in ENUGU, to recreate opportunities for our people, to expand the scope that ease of doing business will bring to our people. And when we try to intervene in things that aid business, it is in our DNA, because that's what we committed to people of ENUGU, and that's what we have aspired to do each step of the way. And why do we do that? Why are we so much focused on business and trying to make it easier for businesses to thrive and expand and succeed here? It's because we recognize the place of business in lifting our people out of poverty. It's because we recognize the importance of business in creating values. It's because we recognize the fact that businesses must come to ENUGU to expand employment opportunities for our people, contribute in our GDP, and also contribute in our IGR.
The president of the ENUGU Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, SIMA, Nayilugu Onyemelukwe, noted the significant growth within the chamber, especially in infrastructure, strategic planning and partnerships. They appealed for increased support towards the construction of a second indoor exhibition hall to accommodate the growing number of participants.
Unfortunately, it's only in the eastern Nigeria we have 3 recognized trade fair complexes, one in the north, one in the west. And the one in the north has fully built, as well as the one in the west. But the one in the east has remained a self-made something. Only what we collected, we used to build. And it's still our prayers that the federal government we do the stamp people the way others has been handled. They may want to make it here.
The Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, NASIMA, represented by Humphrey Ngonade, called for the upgrade of trade fair facilities across the region to meet international standards. He emphasized its importance in driving economic expansion in the Southeast. Good messages from both the federal and state ministries of trade and investment further underscored the importance of collaboration in boosting Nigeria's economic outlook. The ENUGU International Trade Fair is expected to run until March 30th, 2026, with more activities lined up to foster business connections and economic opportunities. A deadly ambush by armed gunmen have claimed the lives of 9 soldiers and policemen in the Shanga local government area of Kebbi State. Kebbi State Governor Nasir Idris confirmed the attack, which happened on Tuesday night in the Giro Masa community when security operatives were suddenly targeted by the assailants. Governor Idris visited the mortuary and the accident and emergency unit of a federal teaching hospital in Kebbi. The victims of the attack were taken to. Speaking to journalists after visiting the mortuary and the accident and emergency unit of the federal teaching hospital in Kebbi on Wednesday, the victims of the attack were Idris described the attack as barbaric. He assured that the state government will cover the medical bills of the injured and provide support to the families of the disease security personnel. The gunmen, believed to have been operating in the area for some time, were reportedly traced by security forces to a construction company yard following a tip-off from residents. The assault also resulted in the deaths of some civilians. There have been persistent attacks by bandits and terrorist groups across northern Nigeria, with several incidents involving fatalities among troops. The Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, has directed that the ENUGU-Onitsha Expressway be reopened for public use on or before March 31st. Umahi gave the directive during an inspection of ongoing projects in Enugu, including the ENUGU-Onitsha Expressway and the Ekeo-Binago flyover, during which he expressed confidence that the era of fatal accidents, endless traffic, and public frustration on the road was over. He noted that the long-traveled ENUGU-Onitsha Expressway is fast shedding its green past from its upgrade, along with other projects across the southeast. The minister said he has been going round the 6 geopolitical zones, assessing what is possibly to be commissioned before May 29 by President Bola Tinubu. The minister further disclosed that a dual carriageway, which spans 107 kilometers on each side, is undergoing a major structural shift, with a significant portion being converted from asphalt to concrete to ensure durability. He added that the same approach has been extended to sections in Anambra State, including the Headbridge axis, where an initial asphalt design has been replaced with concrete pavement to align with modern highway standards. ENUGU lectures remain a cornerstone of university tradition, providing a platform for distinguished scholars to share research findings, challenge assumptions, and shape public discourse. At the University of Nigeria ENUGU campus, the focus turns to oral hygiene and tooth decay, which is now a growing public health concern. Christopher Lele reports.
The 236th inaugural lecture of the University of Nigeria drew a diverse audience, including health professionals, academics, policymakers, business executives, students, as well as community and religious leaders. The Vice-Chancellor, Professor Simon Otoaya, represented by the Deputy Vice-Chancellor Administration, Dr. Josephat Omomere, described the lecture as timely, citing the growing prevalence of dental health challenges.
I know at least everybody wakes up in the morning to brush his or her teeth. You must do it on a daily basis. If you don't do it, you may constitute a nuisance to people around you. I declare this inaugural lecture open. Thank you very much.
The inaugural lecturer, Professor Linda Oge-Okoye, a leading scholar in restorative dentistry at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, broke down the misconceptions about oral health. In the lecture titled Beyond the Smile, the Myth, the Truth, and the Control of Tooth Decay, Professor Okoye highlighted the science behind tooth decay and outlined practical strategies for prevention and control.
Notably, 90.5% barely use fluoridated toothpaste, and 43.2% have never visited the dentist. Market. Males using chewing stick had higher caries experience than those using toothbrush and toothpaste. The data compels us to ask why, with effective interventions available, do people still suffer from this preventable disease? The answer lies partly in the myths and misconceptions that continue to shape public understanding and behavior regarding dental caries. Before we can effectively implement evidence-based prevention and control strategies, we must confront and dismantle the myths.
Professor Okoye called on government and key stakeholders to intensify oral health campaigns and bridge existing gaps in awareness and access to care.
I am telling the government, pay attention to oral health care. Government, integrate oral health care in the general health care. Government, increase the financing of oral health care. Currently, less than 0.5% of the budget is marked for oral health care. It's not good. Listen, good oral health care actually gives rise to the good general health. For individuals still on government, if it's possible, I want you to make sure that the sugar content of what we get over the counter is labeled. I also want the government to consider water fluoridation for our school children, because we are not getting enough fluoride in the drinking water, especially here in ENUGU. And we need that fluoride to protect our teeth from decay.
Colleagues in academia praised the depth of the lecture and the relevance of her research to everyday health.
The topic handled by the inaugural lecturer is something that affects every individual, and her manner of presentation was so simple that even the simplest person here, no matter your level of education, understood everything that she said. So we now know that there is something beyond the smile, and that it's important that we keep our smile by making sure that we maintain oral hygiene.
A lot of information was impacted. She talked about prevention of dental caries, about treatment, especially avoiding sugary things. Things that you should try to avoid as much as possible sugar, and the type of thing, brush your teeth twice a day. Many people don't. They just manage to do it once in the morning. They don't do it again.
I found it very interesting and very informative. I learned a lot. Things we take for granted, she was able to point it out, and she's very knowledgeable about it. You can see a practicing dentist, a practicing dental surgeon.
Family members also shared in the joy of the moment. Her mother, Grace Ilonze, urged parents to prioritize their children's oral hygiene, while her husband, Pastor Emeka Okoye, expressed confidence in her while praying for her continued success.
So happy about my daughter. I am very, very happy because God is good God. The journey thus far we have gone, seeing it coming to this way today, I am very grateful. I only have one message, that the sky is our starting point. There is no limit to what God will use her and do with her in life.
The event featured the presentation of awards and gifts to the inaugural lecturer and free dental consultations for attendees. As the curtain falls on the 236th inaugural lecture, stakeholders agreed that the message of oral health must move from the margins to the mainstream with sustained awareness and actions across all levels of society. In Enugu, Christopher Lele, Signature TV News.
The ENUGU State Waste Management Authority, ESWAMA, has announced that a cleanup exercise for the month of March will take place on Saturday, 28th of March, between the hours of 7 and 10 o'clock in the morning. A statement signed by Managing Director of ESWAMA, Richard Onaga, says there will be restrictions of movement for both people and vehicles during the period of the exercise, except for those on essential duties. Such persons, he said, must, however, present valid means of identification or official ESWAMA pass. Onaga warned that early morning sporting activities, including at the Opera Square, Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium, UNEC, Liberty Stadium, and ENUGU Park, as well as commercial activities across the state, are to be suspended during the exercise. The statement adds that security agencies in the state have been mandated to arrest any defaulter, while environmental courts will be on duty at ESWAMA office to prosecute defaulters. The Nigerian Bar Association has condemned the conduct of former presidential candidate and human rights activist Omoyele Sowore at the Federal High Court, Abuja, on Tuesday, describing it as a disruption of courtroom decorum. Sowore had clashed with a senior advocate of Nigeria while attempting to address journalists inside a courtroom, with a senior lawyer insisting that the courtroom was not an appropriate venue for a press briefing. In a statement signed by its president, Afam Osigwe, on Wednesday, the association said courtrooms in constitutional democracy are open to the public to promote transparency and public confidence, but must be conducted with restraint, discipline, and respect for judicial authorities. The NBA said Sowore entered a courtroom accompanied by individuals carrying camera phones and recording equipment and proceeded to set up waterbed to preparations for a press conference within the courtroom itself in a manner akin to a broadcast setting, despite his case not being listed for hearing. The NBA, while noting that every Nigerian has a right to attend court proceedings, such access does not extend to converting the courtroom into a platform for press briefings or actions capable of undermining the dignity and authority of the court. An Abuja Federal High Court, presided over by Justice Emeka Mwite, has affirmed the final forfeiture to the federal government of $13 million linked to a Lagos socialite, Ms. Aisha Achimogu, and her company, Ocean Gate Engineering Oil and Gas Limited. Delivering the judgment, Justice Mwite held that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission established that the foreign currency was proceeds of fraud and unlawful activities. It further held that Ocean Gate Engineering Oil and Gas Limited failed to establish how it came by the money, and that EFCC satisfied all requirements for the fund to be classified as proceeds of fraud and to be forfeited to the appropriate authority. The judge dismissed the claims that the amount was gift received into the Ocean Gate Engineering Company by Aisha Achimogu, adding that the said Aisha never came to the court to show cause on why the huge fund should not be forfeited to the government. According to him, the burden to establish genuine ownership of the money was not established by the applicant to counter the claims of the anti-graft agency that the money was the proceeds of fraud based on its investigation. Justice Mwite, on 22nd August 2025, granted the anti-graft agency's motion ex parte for an interim order forfeiting the sum of $13 million linked to Ocean Gate Limited to the federal government of allegations that the fund was proceeds of unlawful activity. A federal high court sitting in Lagos on Wednesday nullified the January 2024 dissolution of the board and management of Union Bank of Nigeria by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, declaring the action ultra vires. Presiding Judge Justice Chukwujeku Aneke, in his ruling, quashed all decisions taken by the CBN-appointed board and directed the immediate restoration of the bank's former board and management. The court further restrained the CBN, its appointees and agents from taking any further steps, including actions relating to the proposed recapitalization of the bank or any related measures. The Apex Bank had in January 2024 announced the dissolution of Union Bank's board and management, appointing Yetunde Oni as managing director and Chief Executive Officer, and Mani Ubali Wigem as Executive Director. Dissatisfied with the move, core stakeholders of the bank, Titan Trust Bank, Lucius International, and Magna International approached the court challenging the legality of the CBN's action. Also, the shareholders argued that the removal of the bank's directors and the proposed recapitalization by the interim board were carried out without due process, describing the steps as unlawful. Airstrikes killed 7 fighters in Iraq's Anbar, and Spain's PM says Israel to inflict on Lebanon same destruction as in Gaza. Details of these and more on our foreign stories.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
The number of migrants who died on the eastern route from the Horn of Africa to the Arabian Peninsula doubled to a record high of 922 last year, the UN Migration Agency said on Wednesday. Tens of thousands of migrants from Ethiopia, Somalia, and neighboring countries take the route across the Red Sea each year, mostly from Djibouti to Yemen, in search of work as laborers or domestic workers in wealthy Gulf nations. The majority of victims were from Ethiopia, the second most populous country in Africa, with more than 130 million people. It is plagued by multiple internal conflicts and deep poverty. Many migrants who cross the Red Sea find themselves stuck in Yemen, the poorest country in the Arabian Peninsula, which has been embroiled in a civil war for nearly a decade, and even some choose to return. Rapid economic growth in Ethiopia, estimated to reach around 10% in 2026, could encourage less migration, IOM says, but that is mitigated by high inflation, also around 10% in February. An aerial attack on a military base in western Iraq's Anbar province has killed 7 fighters and wounded 13, according to Iraqi's Ministry of Defense. The strikes on Wednesday targeted the military healthcare clinic at the base of Habiniya, according to the ministry. It called the attack a heinous crime that violated all international laws and norms. Iraqi Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani has instructed the Foreign Ministry to summon the U.S. charge d'affaires in Baghdad over attacks that targeted its military units. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has said Israel seeks to inflict the same level of damage and destruction on Lebanon as on the Gaza Strip, as its army continues attacks across the neighboring country amid plans to occupy its south. In an address before the lower house on Wednesday, Sanchez also said his government stood against the United States-Israeli war on Iran, which prevented a far worse scenario than the invasion of Iraq in 2003. Sanchez added that Iran's new supreme leader was more hardline than his predecessor. Iranians are dealing with the fallout of the US-Israeli war on their country for the 4th week, while being squeezed by a dwindling economy and the largest internet shutdown the country has ever experienced. Most of the country is closed down this week for Nowruz holidays to celebrate the Persian New Year. But Iran has had numerous unexpected shutdowns this year, including those due to the 12-day war with Israel and the US in June, and the bloody nationwide protests in January, as well as air pollution rooted in an energy crisis. For many business owners, a significantly reduced market activity over the past year, and specifically in the lead-up to Nowruz, has meant significantly slashed income. And that's it. On the foreign news,
Barcelona is considering Victor Osimhen as an alternative to Atletico Madrid forward Julian Alvarez. Alvarez is Barcelona''s number one target to replace Robert Lewandowski this summer. Atletico Madrid are not expected to sanction Alvarez's sale, with Antoine Griezmann impending summer departure. Osimhen is on Barcelona's radar, according to Barcelona Universal. Nigerian international is currently regarded as one of the leading marksmen in the world. He has scored 56 goals in 70 appearances since his arrival at Galatasaray. It will take a big fee for Fenerbahce to consider selling the striker. Galatasaray to consider selling the striker would have signed for €75 million from Napoli. Some of the records of outgoing Liverpool winger Mohamed Salah at the Premier League have been revealed. This follows Salah's announcement on Tuesday that he will be leaving the Reds at the end of the season. Egyptian international has 1 year left in his current deal with Liverpool, but the Premier League giants will allow him to leave Anfield as a free agent. However, according to Opti-Geo, Salah has 189 goals and 92 assists in 310 Premier League appearances for Liverpool. The most goals and assists combined by any player as for a single club in Premier League history. Also, since 2017 to 2018 season, the 33-year-old ranked first in the Premier League for goals, 100 assists, open play chances created, shots on target, and touches in the opposition box. Salah joined Liverpool from AS Roma in 2017 and has already become a club legend for the Reds. Next is entertainment news.
Nollywood actress Uche Montana says fame has significantly impacted her love life, noting that it can intimidate potential partners. Speaking on the Uncut Extra podcast, she explained that it could take a special kind of man to fully accept her and not feel threatened by her status. While admitting that fame makes dating more difficult, Montana added that it has also brought her financial stability and comfort. She stressed that men who feel intimidated are not suitable partners, observing that many attractive women remain single because they are often assumed to be already taken. Nigerian singer Chike has shared relationship advice he received from his mother, revealing that she warned him against marrying someone who does not add value to his life regardless of love. Speaking during a recent interview on Ada's Room podcast, the music star said his mother also cautioned him against marrying from a financially struggling family or settling down with an unemployed partner. According to him, such situations could create long-term financial pressure, especially where there is heavy dependence. Chike added that he takes the advice seriously, often seeking to understand a woman's background, values, and productivity before considering a serious relationship. He also urged men to look beyond physical attraction and focus on compatibility, stability, and long-term implications. Meanwhile, American rapper and business mogul Jay-Z says he is not taking sides in the ongoing feud between Drake and Kendrick Lamar. In an interview with GQ, Jay-Z explained that his decision to choose Kendrick Lamar for the 2025 Super Bowl halftime show was based strictly on the rapper's impressive musical run, not favoritism. He also questioned the relevance of rap feuds, noting that they create division, fuel personal attacks, and distract from the overall growth of hip-hop. And that's the entertainment news. Queeneth Wonkonta's Signature TV News.
That's the news. I am Barry Kumo Ado. Thank you very much for watching.
Every second, Every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket. Signature TV. News in your pocket. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
New every morning on Signature TV, we open the day for you with needed energy, information, and required vibes to shape your day. From sizzling snippets of stories in various areas of life to intriguing conversations with net worth guests.
When you have people who have no track record becoming your leaders, you have a problem.
There's no outstanding gratuity when Obi took over from me. I left, in all the accounts of Anambra State, 13.8 billion for him.
Your day cannot be complete without Signature Morning on weekdays and Signature New Day on weekends. There is no better way to start your day except Signature Morning and Signature New Day every day on Signature TV.
Health is more than a diagnosis. It's your lifestyle, your choices, and your future. Join us on Inside Health, your weekly deep dive into the stories, science, and solutions shaping your well-being. From expert interviews to real-life journeys of healing and hope, we cover it all.
One of the complications of cancer management or treatment is they have some of them, at one point in time, you see them having anemia. Okay, so you see them at times being transfused. But at the same time, you come in with a diet.
Nutrition, mental health, innovations in medicine, fitness, and everyday wellness. Whether you're managing a condition, staying informed, or just living your best life, Inside Health is your trusted guide.
I'm Chigichi Agorom, and I'll be with you every week on Inside Health, only on Signature TV.
The way we see the world shapes the way we change it. Gender isn't just a checkbox, it's a lens. One that helps us understand the world more deeply and act more fairly. Gender Perspectives, a program for those ready to see more, do more, and be more. Designed to challenge assumptions, ignite conversations, and build inclusive solutions across every sector of society.
We are not, fighting the men. We are not saying we are equal in terms of rights. We're only asking they should recognize our existence.
Join us on Gender Perspectives, showing every Saturday by 4 p.m. Repeat every Wednesdays by 5 p.m. and Thursdays by 3 p.m. Change begins with perspective. Let's widen yours.
Bright and early, as the day breaks, as the newspaper headlines trail the stories that shape the day, we at Signature TV trail the headlines that trail the day. We interrogate the headlines. We analyze the stories that make the headlines.
WAEC is overrated, and they even overrated themselves and went into CBT. They are insensitive of some Nigerian children who have never had what it was CBT.
With passion and emotion, we drive the conversation to change a narrative.
Let nobody be deceived by Nigerian high level of performing in agriculture export. we are still where we are.
Newspaper review on Signature TV every morning on Signature Morning, weekdays, and Signature New Day, weekends. Newspaper review on Signature TV. We do not just review the headlines, we make the headlines relevant to our daily lives.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
Health is more than a diagnosis. It's your lifestyle, your choices, and your future. Join us on Inside Health, your weekly deep dive into the stories, science, and solutions shaping your well-being. From expert interviews to real-life journeys of healing and hope, we cover it all.
One of the complications of cancer management or treatment is they have some of them, at one point in time, you see them having anemia. Okay, so you see them at times being transfused. But at the same time, you come in with a diet.
Nutrition, mental health, innovations in medicine, fitness, and everyday wellness. Whether you're managing a condition, staying informed, or just living your best life, Inside Health is your trusted guide.
I'm Chigichi Agorom, and I'll be with you every week on Inside Health, only